Welcome to another episode of Dungeons & Dragons Tomb of Annihilation, brought to you by Kashcah. Our Dungeon Master / Game Master. Those are some nifty gloves. I just noticed you had those on.
It's cold out here.
Let's see. There was a lot happened last episode. It was mostly a lot of combat. Let's do a little bit of a recap. Actually, no, let's do introductions, and then we'll do the recap. So obviously there's Kashcah the Dungeon Master.
Hi.
And above is Vorn, the NPC that I will be switching out before next week. I guarantee it. That is not there anymore. We are currently with Artis and Dragonbait, a human and a half dinosaur man, who seem to be.
You don't know what he is.
They're both very. They're helpful in a fight, that's for certain.
Yeah.
And then we've got Rorax, who is not with us today. She plays Aelia, a Centaur Cleric, who specifically abhors undead. And next to her, we've got Nerevar.
That's me. I'll be playing as Tobias Salazar, who is a Spacial sorcerer and commanding his Eidolon / his ex-dragon, Arokh Ironscale.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we've got next to him, Kellisto.
I'm Kellisto of the Bear God clan, and I am a half-elf druid.
Mm-hmm. And next to her, we've got, without a camera today, Lyssa.
I am playing Valia Bonesmasher. Sorry for the voice. And I am a Lizardfolk Barbarian. And I have an adolescent axe-beak companion named Flippy.
Yep. She's a little bit under the weather today, so you might hear, oh, hey, connection to the server's been interrupted. That's great. So you might hear a little bit of graveliness from her, but you also might hear our audio go a little bit wonky. We've had a little issue with Discord earlier. We shall see how things go. And then myself, I am Vallen. I am playing Ulfgar Holderheck, a Dwarven bard, who is employed with the Emerald Enclave. A bunch of kind of nature city peacekeepers of sorts. Now, let's see. A bit of a recap. Kashcah, did you want to do that?
No.
Okay.
Don't do the recaps.
All right. That's right. You do the adventures. Trying to remember where we started. Oh, yeah. We started off continuing on where we were before, and that was on the island of Chult, which happens to be inhabited by dinosaurs as well as many other humanoid races. It's a very dangerous place, but we had been summoned here, most of us at least, via someone who wanted to end an undeath plague of sorts, those that have been resurrected before properly, brought back to life due to magics, have since had those magics fail, and they've started wasting away to nothingness, and we have been summoned to try and destroy and or recover the Soulmonger artifact, which is believed to be causing this. Along this route, traveling all over this continent, or island, or place, I don't even know because it goes off the map, we've discovered that there's an undead entity that seems to be, at the very least, causing no end of discord along this this land, and may indeed be the cause or in ownership of the Soulmonger itself. So we are currently trying to get to that person. But along that way, we went to a Dwarven city in recently in hopes to try and, I don't know, find a safe spot. Upon finding there weren't any dwarves there, but 4. It was a long deserted Dwarven hold that was taken over by fire newts. These 4 dwarves wanted us to help them, and Ulfgar felt he needed to, and the rest of the group wanted to join in. And then negotiations happened after we killed half of them. And they were allowed to leave, or at least so we believe they have. And then we started going room by room, checking the place out, seeing what we could find. How's that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, you're like, whatever.
Here's the reason I don't do recaps is because this is how you guys remember it, right? And I'm not going to tell you how you remember. So
This is
So,
why.
yeah, sure.
This is why I want the recaps. Is because
Nope.
you to do the recaps is because you might tell us some things.
Exactly. It's up to you what you remember. You know?
We just forgot that, Tobias was about to be, like, possessed or something.
Something.
I'm going to be
along those lines.
possessed. I'm going to kill the rest of the party.
TPK incoming.
So I don't remember the exact last moments of last week.
Okay.
So can you refresh us at least that much?
Yeah, I can do that. Unless somebody else wants to do it. But you had, as you said, you've been going kind of room by room. And I think Kellisto had started out kind of down here, looking through these storerooms. And while she was doing that, you guys were having a look through the weapons that are up here. And Ulfgar, weren't you in there as well? I thought you were.
I was, but things started happening and my character never got moved, so I just didn't bother touching it.
All right. So Scythia is in there with you as well. Ooh, let's move Scythia in. So Scythia had said that you could have some of the weapons. There's a whole bunch of weapons in this room. And Scythia had kindly said that you could have some of the weapons from this room. She allowed you to take one apiece for as part of your kind of payment for your help with that. I think, Ulfgar, you'd taken a crossbow, right?
Yeah, I kind of changed my mind on that. I realized that I'm not very good with a crossbow. So I would probably go for either replacing my really crappy looking goblin shortbow with another one of those if possible, or a longbow if that was even doable.
So here's the thing that what the chamber contains. When you're looking around, you see a bunch of battle axes, a bunch of great axes, some mauls, some morning stars, some war picks, some war hammers, and some heavy crossbows and a bunch of crossbow bolts. There is also a single short sword, and there's also 4 suits of dwarven half plate. So, with the single short sword, we can swap out whatever you want. Or with whatever you want there, Ulfgar. But the single short sword is what, from perhaps everybody else's perspective, just seemed to kind of catch Tobias's eye. And you're noticing, and it doesn't look dwarven make. The blade of this short sword is jet black, and the pommel has the shape of a skull, kind of forged into the shape of a skull. And Scythia says that it's not dwarven make, and you're all kind of looking at it. And then Valia had picked it up and put it kind of on the table in the center of the room, and was looking at it there. You're all kind of peering at it, and then Tobias had picked it up. So that's kind of your perspective of it. Tobias, on the other hand, is hearing voices.
Very, very deep, tempting voice that promises me everything on this world.
A particular voice who's very strongly encouraging Tobias to become its ally. So, Ulfgar, you want to swap out your crossbow for something else?
Yeah, I really I wouldn't make much use of it. I feel they don't really have any weapons in here that would fit his dexterity level. Mostly they're all strength based. So
They're your fairly typical dwarven weapons, you know.
Yeah, I guess we've often needed a way of like chopping wood or something like that. So he might take a battle axe. Okay. Now, are these just standard weapons, or are they made of like special materials or anything?
No, these are fairly standard. This is kind of it's a fairly vanilla kind of armory. Nothing particularly special. Okay, so you're swapping out for a battle axe.
Unless of course they have a shield, because I still had that old goblin chief shield that is probably pretty ragged, but I don't think that they did. So
They do not. No.
Okay.
Okay. So Tobias, last week I had asked you to roll a d20, and you had rolled a 3. The result of that is that you are convinced that this sword is a fantastic replacement for your own. In fact, God, looking at this short sword that you have, you're surprised you would carry something so crude. It just seems like such a simple thing now when you look at it, and this other sword is so much more elegant and sophisticated, and really you're just convinced that this sword was practically made for you. So much so that you just kind of cast your other sword aside, maybe leaning it against the armor racks or weapon racks. You just kind of cast that one. You're just not even thinking really about where you're putting it. Just not important at all anymore. This new sword is where it's at.
Okay. This will do. As look like a fine blade.
Okay.
Nothing else happens?
So
No,
it looks interesting, to say the least.
The sword continues, or the voice in your head continues to speak and says, "Yes, we will be fantastic allies. Together, we can cleanse the world of all the impurities."
Okay. What kind of impurities I'm thinking? I'm not speaking out loud.
Okay. So is this something that you're kind of intending the voice to hear, this question?
Yeah, I'm thinking what kind of impurities.
It says, "Any that stand in our way."
Fair enough.
In the meantime, Ulfgar, realizing that perhaps just grabbing a battle axe might not have been a good idea, he starts. he starts. Well, just like at random, because he's like, there have been dwarves like myself that have been able to cast magics before and imbue weapons. So he starts like doing his ritual for a detect magic spell. But it'll take like 10 minutes for him to complete it. So
okay.
He'll start on that because he's in the armory, and he figured he might as well just do a pan around in there and then call it done.
Okay.
The deed is done.
Right.
I'm just gonna look around the room, and I'm gonna look at Tobias, and I'm gonna look at Ulfgar, and I'm just gonna shake my head and throw my hands up and walk out. I'm like, I'm done with this place. Y'all are talking to weapons. I don't know what's wrong with you. I'm leaving.
Was he actually talking to the weapon?
Well,
yeah, no.
That's a question for Tobias, actually. Were you saying anything out loud? Or?
No. I'm not saying anything out loud.
Okay. So you might see like.
And I don't think that Valia could hear the voice.
That's correct. You're the only one. That can hear
I guess I would just look at you. Then I thought you were talking out loud. My bad. I just look at you because you're staring. I notice you're looking at the weapon weird, and I'm just like, I don't know what's wrong with you, man. It's still a sword. You look really interested in it. It's yours. I'm not taking it.
Okay. So you see, so Tobias and Valia, you see, the Ulfgar is kind of beginning his ritual casting. You guys have seen him do this quite a few times before, so fairly familiar with what he's up to at this point. Do you want to stick around and see the results of that, or are you heading further into the rooms, or what you doing while
Yeah, to give you guys an idea of what he did, he basically picked up a crossbow and a heavy crossbow and some bolts, and he goes, "Oh, I couldn't fire it fast enough." And he sets it down and he picks up a battle axe and he goes, "Oh, I don't know if I could swing. Maybe I could use it to chop wood." And he sets it down on the table in front of him and he goes, "You know, I didn't think. Maybe one of these has a magical trait that'll help." And then he starts doing his ritual.
Yeah, you're very picky for a dwarf.
Yeah, I just nod my head. I'm like, be careful with that crossbow. You don't want to shoot yourself or your foot. You know, one of us.
He just raised an eyebrow while he's doing his ritual.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stand there and watch it. I'm looking at both of them like, you are absolutely insane. They're just weapons. I'm gonna yell at Flippy. Flippy, come in here. Keep an eye on Ulfgar. Make sure he doesn't start going crazy.
Kellisto, how about you? I think we uncovered that that these were previously dwarven storerooms that the fire newts have been using as kind of nest boxes almost. So they're pretty stinky. There's not much like value in there. You find a few foodstuffs in a barrel that looked well sealed enough not to have been affected by the fire newt occupancy.
Yeah, so I grab the things I do find, and then I stagger out of the room, retching.
Okay. You do see, like, in this direction, it looks like the hallway opens up back to kind of the... you can actually feel the heat kind of pouring in from that area. And you're pretty sure that opens back up to where the magma is. But there does seem to be, like, a little kind of platform balcony bit. So...
I suppose I'll step out.
Okay. Let me uncover this bit. So you can see, yep, there's kind of one of the great bucket chains that's going across the magma flow. And yep, there's a kind of platform on either side. And actually,
I'll move.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I'm gonna move to the top just to kind of look and see if I can see him.
Okay, so this is like slightly misleading here. I'm gonna uncover it, but let me explain it a little bit.
Okay.
So here, you don't. This gantry is actually not there. But you do see like over here. You see. Ooh, let me uncover it a bit more. Sorry, I had to revert back to like the traditional kind of fog of war stuff because it was being weird with the dynamic lighting. So but over here you do see like the mouth of a tunnel, and it looks like it just ends very abruptly, and then you can kind of see like some like similar kind of circumstance over here, but you also see like there's some kind of mechanical contraption as well just below the mouth of the tunnel.
Okay. Would I know what this stuff is? Probably not.
Wait, which stuff?
The mechanical stuff?
And I think you can kind of put two and two together that it somehow connects the two tunnels.
Okay. Well, what I'll probably end up doing is going back to find the others. Reluctantly going through the storerooms.
Okay.
Holding my breath the entire way.
Just making a run for it.
And I'm just under my breath going, prestidigitation, prestidigitation. Go find Ulfgar. And so I'm moving my way up into the room.
And then
and I kind of like burst in, and I'm like, Ulfgar!
He still tries to maintain continuing on, but he looks up you know, with you can see that he's in the midst of actually casting a ritual.
Ah, and then I'm just like, oh, never mind. It's not that bad. I'm sorry, I smell. But when you're done, I want prestidigitation all over me.
He nods his head.
And then I just kind of wait then because I don't want to interrupt. I don't know what's going on. So
It's not a particularly difficult incantation for him, but it does take. It still takes 10 minutes for him to like summon it, where it doesn't actually take some stamina from him.
So if everybody's kind of waiting around for Ulfgar to finish his ritual, then yeah, I mean, just a couple of minutes after Kellisto bursts in the door, and there is kind of a slight wave of an odor that follows along with it. Not sure what she's been up to, but some shenanigans for sure. So the ritual finishes and you cast, and you can pan around the room and find that actually the only thing that gives off any kind of magical aura is Tobias's new sword.
Okay. He'd take note of it, and he'd say, "It looks like you've got yourself a bit of magic on that one there." And he'd continue on, though, if the armor didn't light up, which is what he was really hoping for. He'd continue, like, going into just a quick... He wouldn't actually leave the room. He'd just open the door and do a scan out into this area to see if anything lit up. Just like the furnaces themselves, or if there was like something on the tables or whatever. But
some of Artus's dagger and dragonbait sword light up.
Yeah. And then he'd head back down through here and do a scan in this room, and then a scan in this room most likely.
And let me do a better job of describing these two rooms to you, because I don't think we really reviewed them much at all. So these are definitely like the two forge rooms. So they got let's see, some metalworking tools and replacement parts. There's the anvils here that you see in this room, and there's clearly like kind of contraption here that buckets the molten iron up from the tank in the previous room over into this tank. Over into this room, ready to be kind of smelted up.
Okay.
Or, smithed up. I don't know what the correct terminology is there, sorry. So there is a door over here as well. And then down in this room, you see there's a massive stamping hammer in the center of the room. And actually, this is what you think had been causing all the noise, because these two anvils don't look like they're particularly well used. But this is a big mechanical stamping hammer. So it is machine driven and looks like it is there for pounding out this molten metal into ingots and stuff.
Okay. And obviously nothing in those rooms glow.
Correct.
Okay. Before he actually would go into the mechanical hammer room, he would have, because he can maintain the concentration on one and still do like a little prestidigitation to clean Kellisto, and he would do so before proceeding on, just because the smell's a little disconcerting.
Okay.
And then he would actually peek through this door. And
Right, which door? Sorry.
This door.
Oh, okay. Let me do a little reveal area then. So you see beyond this door is a long, narrow hallway. And the only thing of significance on this hallway is that right around here is a lever. It's not little, actually. There's a fairly heavy looking iron lever in the wall. It's attached to the wall. Yep, and that's That's the only thing of note in the hallway. Otherwise, it looks like it just you can see the glow and feel the heat of the magma from the area beyond.
Okay. Let's do. There we go. And there's no magical glows that I'm seeing. Okay. Then, as before, he would continue down in here, do the scan, and then continue on. Probably at best, just doing a quick pan into each of these rooms. That's about as much as he'd have time for, I would think, because it lasts about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when you open this door here, you can kind of get an idea of where Kellisto's been, because you do get there's a waft of kind of really
bit magic-y clean.
Yeah, it doesn't smell particularly nice.
Yeah, magic clean.
It's like kind of a mix of burning hair and burning rubber. It's not great at all.
He would actually cause a pleasant odor in the air with prestidigitation as well.
Okay. But sweeping around, like just having a peek in each of the rooms, and you're fairly certain you are able to cover the whole area, but you don't get any more kind of magical glows.
Okay.
Pinging on your radar.
All right. So Ulfgar would just keep the battle axe, because if anything, it's a good dwarven axe to have, and in a pinch can be used to cut down a door, or if not in combat, used to cut wood. But but he would mention that it was arcane, but he wouldn't say anything else unless Tobias wanted him to actually further inspect it, which I don't think he did. So
yeah, I'm not giving this sword to anyone else.
That's fine. Kellisto, are you taking any items? We're allowed to take one each.
I don't think there's anything here that I would find useful.
He points over at the half-plate dwarven armor and says, I think you'd look smashing in that.
But I'm not a dwarf. I don't want to wear dwarf stuff.
It actually, I'm guessing it would probably look a little big on you, but at the wrong proportions, like bigger broadways, not tall.
Because I'm not much taller, but I'm a very short elf.
Yeah. So it'd be like you're putting on like football pads or something that they stick out really far.
Yeah, it does look like it's just way too wide for you, Kellisto.
Buff Kellisto.
I'm 5'2" and like 115 pounds.
Maybe if you polymorphed into some kind of like large primate or something.
Yeah, it's too bad I can't polymorph into like other people type.
Polymorph into a dwarf.
Yeah, it's only beasts.
All right.
Although sometimes Ulfgar can be a beast.
Thanks.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, I guess, work his way back over here to talk to Sithi and say, we've looked through there. There seems to be a passageway that runs out across the magma. There might be some kind of lever to get across, but otherwise, should we finish inspecting the rest of this place and make sure it's empty?
She's like, she says, well, that, this is pretty much it. She says, like, what do you mean the rest of this? She's confused by your rest of this place statement.
Yeah.
Well, you did say that there were tracks when we first came in here that went down into the mine. Who's to say that they aren't staying down there? Or stashed something.
She says, yes, we should definitely, the tracks to the mine are where we should go next. She says, but I'm sure, she says, I just want to be completely honest with you. She says, I'm sure that there's going to be danger ahead. And it's no short walk.
Down the mine.
She says, yes, the mine is some a short, well, some distance off.
Well, what of, and I describe this area here. Where might that lead?
She kind of looks at you begrudgingly. That leads to the treasury.
Because if she actually like looked at him begrudgingly, he would have repeated it in Dwarven.
Yeah, and she would actually answer in Dwarven as well.
Okay. He'd say, "I will leave it alone. Did you want to have a check though, and make sure that it's still intact?"
She says, "It's probably a good idea."
Would you like us to wait here?
She says you can come with if you want.
All right. What about the rest of us?
Says that's fine.
Okay. All right. Shall we check there first and then down in the mines?
She says yes. She says you may want to rest up before we head down to the mines. Like I said, it's not a short walk, and we're bound to encounter. She says I want to rest up if nothing else.
All right. Did you want to go to into the treasury first, or the vaults?
Yep. He heads off down through the forge room into the corridor, the hallway here, and cranks down this big heavy iron leather. It's kind of got this grinding noise as she cranks it down, and you hear like gears like ch-chung, 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 and things you can hear like and feel like little trembles in the ground beneath your feet, and some whirring noises and gear noises continue, and then out from this end of the tunnel, quite predictably, especially from Kellisto's perspective, this gantry starts extending across. It's this great mechanical kind of heavy thing. Looks like it's iron, and it's made up of these arms that are like they were kind of concertinaed together, and they're just kind of expanding out across this magma pool, and it takes them a couple of minutes to get for this gantry to extend that entire way. So this whole time it's this ka-chung, ka-chung, ka-chung noise, and the rest of you can hear this as well going on. It's not a quiet procedure by any means. And after a couple of minutes, it's extended far enough out that you can see it's reached the pathway over here, and you can kind of see that the pathway extends a bit further and reaches a door, and that's about all you see. And Sithy does she starts walking over there basically, so she's gonna
I'll keep with her.
just no fear about stepping on the gantry at all. She just off she toddles, and
Ulfgar pretty much, sticks with her, but at the same time, he's just like kind of looking all around at the same time. And then he looks down at things like, down here at these edges and how the lava or magma or whatever just goes right up to the edge. And he's like, gosh, imagine being one of the workers installing those walls against the lava, and just continuing on, just commenting about how it's just such an interesting build. And
the magma is about 10 feet below you, and it is a little disconcerting because the gantry is not solid floor to step on. There it is like open metalwork,
so we're getting a little bit toasted as we cross.
Yeah, it's
right.
A little bit. It's very toasty. I wouldn't want to hang out on there if I were you. So
who's coming with?
She heads right up to the door.
Okay.
And when you get a bit closer as well, you can see that there are, let me get this right, there we go. There are, again, these kind of two sets of Is dwarven armor again on armor stands.
These guys on either side of her.
Says 2 suits of dwarven half-plate armor stand on each side of an adamantine-banded iron door. These suits of armor were once beautiful, but they are now scarred by weapons, scorched by fire, and smeared with filth. The door has 2 locks, one above the other. And Sithi's kind of just standing there, like she's reached this point and has no idea how to proceed.
She's like, I have no memory of this place.
Kind of something like that. She's just standing there, like, looking at the door. She's not bothered about the armor at all, but she's standing there just looking at the door like, I don't know how to open this.
What's to my north?
Yeah, okay. So there's a little, like, side chamber here. I can do this little side chamber off of this. And that is so it's just carved into the rock. And there's some kind of small amount of junk. There's bits of junk on the floor around the edge.
Okay. I guess I give it a better inspection.
Okay. Can you make an investigation check for me, please?
Let me see.
I want to look at this door.
14.
Okay. So you find a box made of iron that resembles a book.
Huh.
You also find a bunch of other junk. There's like some cast off, like it looks like the crude armor that the fire newts were wearing, some broken bits of that. There's some like bedding as well in here. It looks like fire newt bedding. There's like some broken leather straps. You know, there's just some other kind of junk is around there. Sorry, but what did you say, Lyssa? You want to look at the dwarf or
the door?
Oh, the door. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. So the door has 2 locks on it. Let's see. There's one. They are one above the other, right? And the one that's at the top is embedded in what looks like an adamantine frame, and it's stylized. It looks like it's a rune. Stylized to look like a rune. And then the lower lock actually looks like it's been scraped away. So there's kind of this scarred area on the door where it once might have been.
All right, I look at I look at Cynthia and I'm like, so take it you don't have the keys for these or runes or whatever to unlock this?
She says no.
So it's safe to say that they didn't get in, obviously. So whatever you have lying beyond there should be safe.
Ulfgar says over his shoulder as he's like picking up this box and kind of brushing it off. He says, or they went in and set off a trap and locked themselves in by accident. He kind of chuckles as he says it.
I just look over my shoulder and look back at Cynthia. I'm like, fire newts aren't that smart.
They know magic, and so do I. I might be able to open that door. They might have had a chance.
I'm just like, okay, whatever. What do you have in your hand, by the way?
I don't know. Actually, let's look at my spells.
So I'm just like, here, let me see.
I'd straight up.
I'm not taking it. I'm just gonna reach out. Let me see.
And he'd say, just wait a second. It might be trapped. And he casts just straight up cast detect magic on it.
It has no magical aura about it.
Okay, it
I'm
doesn't
like,
look
here,
like
let
it's
me
locked.
open it. I can take it.
He smacks her hand away and says, "Stop it. That's enough of that. You can go back in the armory if you're going to be like this."
God, Dad, you're no fun.
And is there a lock or a latch on it or anything?
There's a little like little pin kind of latch, so it's just a metal decorative metal plate that hinges over and fits over a little pin that's on the other side of it.
He just undoes it and opens it.
Okay.
I just duck like just act silly. I'm like, oh
no! Fireball!
Poison pin shoots out and gets you in the eye.
I snicker and just move back one step.
Callisto, Dad's not being fair.
So you go to open it, and actually, so it's like, if it's a book standing up like this, right?
Yeah.
Actually, both sides of it kind of look like both sides want to open. So, and actually, so which side are you opening? Sorry.
I guess it's just because I'm holding it with my left hand. I open the right side.
Okay, so it's like this, and you're opening it like this.
Sure.
Okay. So as if it's like the back cover of a book.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay. All right. So you open it up, and on the inside of it is scribed into the metal the Dwarven rune for endings, for the word endings.
And if
I'm
just like looking over, like trying to see. I'm like, what is it?
And I go the other way as well.
Well, so that's on this side of it, right? It says endings. On this side, there's an impression of a key in an iron plate.
But no key, just the impression of one.
Just the impression.
Ulfgar would say, "Sithy, have a look at this. Does it look familiar to you?" And he shows her the two things that he found about it.
Her eyes kind of light up. She says, "I think you found the solution, Ulfgar."
Oh, you think this might be the key to opening this the treasury here?
She says, "Well, that's certainly one of them."
Is it like magically protected, do you think?
She says, "I don't know." She says, "But look at this." And she points to the area of the door where it was scraped away. And you can see that there's the approximate, where the lower lock was scraped away, and you can see there's an approximate kind of, like, you can only just make it out, but it's the rune of the same approximate shape as the one that has been inscribed on the back of the inside cover of this weird book.
Right.
So that was like what happened when you opened the back cover, right? Got the rune inscribed on this side and the imprint of the key on this side.
Do you think you'd be able to make a key from this imprint?
She nods her head. Yes.
He says, "All right. Well, before you're off with that then," and he pans his detect magic at the doorway.
You don't get any pings.
Okay. He says, "Let me try one other thing first, though." And he says, "Would you mind stepping out the way, please?" And he seems to be like walking up towards the door. And assumes people moves out of the way. "You might want to cover your ears." And then he'll cast knock on the door.
Okay. 1 second. Let me check one thing.
And meanwhile, Tobias got bothered with the lack of company, and he decided to stop rambling around the armory and go ahead. Join the group.
Meanwhile, he's back there slaughtering the rest of the dwarves.
So as you're heading across, hang on 1 sec. Let me just move you back a bit because something happens as you kind of get bored and head this way. So you swap. Sithy steps aside and you step up to the door, I'm assuming, and cast knock.
Yes.
Okay. So you hear a mechanical grinding again. So ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. And it's from below your feet again. And Tobias, you're really glad there's like handrails on this gantry, because the whole thing starts to shift underneath your feet. And Kellisto, you watch and you hear this great mechanical grinding noise as the gantry does a kind of a jerk and then starts clunking backwards away from the edge here. So,
I kind of yell.
Standing on that. Okay, just checking.
Like, Tobias, go back!
Ulfgar turns around and goes, "Oh, crud! I think I opened the wrong thing."
I just shake my head. See, you should have let me see it. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna run to the edge of the bridge. Can I reach Kellisto from there so I can pull her? Or are you running away?
I don't know.
Oh no, I'm not on the bridge.
Oh, I thought you were on the bridge. Okay. I'll look at the edge to see where Tobias is, like in the middle, right?
Tobias.
Yeah.
Is about.
Yeah, I'm retreating.
Which is probably a good thing. He can.
I'm just like, I just yell across. Be careful. Make sure Flippy doesn't come across, please.
Flippy starts running
there
across.
is this moment before, where you feel like you could still jump onto that gantry.
I feel like I guess in my mind I'm thinking all he needs to do is press the lever again, so I would just move.
Okay.
Plus, I have an idea about the book, and I really want that book.
Okay. All right. So yeah,
as Ulfgar would have cast that spell, by the way, he would have handed that book to Scythie as she stood back when he cast the spell.
Okay.
Just so you know where it's at.
All right. So Scythie has the book.
Yep.
Okay.
So did anything happen with the vault door in front of us? No.
Negative.
Oh. Well, apparently my spell worked, but not in the way that I anticipated. I expected the door to open. He tries like pushing on the door and seeing if it actually just opens inwards, or if it has a handle or anything that he can pull on it, slide it aside.
It does not.
I walk up to Scythie and be like, Scythie, I have an idea. Can I see that for a second? I promise I'll give it right back.
She nods kind of readily at you and hands you the book.
So I close the book, flip it over, and turn it right side. Open it again, the right side.
Okay. Yeah, you see, so the same thing again, kind of in reverse. On this side, like the cover that's opened on this side, there's another dwarven rune scribed on there. And in the body of the book, if you will, there's a second impression of a key.
And so I kind of hold it out to them, and I'm like, this is what I thought. All you have to do is be able to make both keys, and you should be able, hopefully be able to get in. We just got to get back over.
Right. Okay. A double locking mechanism. Interesting. I've no talent for these things. Tobias, can you pull that switch across there? It's back down the tunnel on the right. No, your other right. Over there.
Ulfgar is yelling at you.
A little bit more. Obviously, way more than he needs to. He's just being like almost irritating at this point.
Yeah. Okay. I'm starting looking for a switch.
I kind of say, don't make him leave us here.
He'll find it. He'll do it.
I just yell across. Remember who your real friends are.
The sword says, we don't need them. They're just going to slow us down. I am your real friend.
Stupid enchanted weapon.
Yeah, I'm trying to ignore the voice.
Don't you want to get back into battle? Aren't you ready for another fight?
It's easier to fight in the group, so quiet. And I'm shoving the sword into the ship.
Did you just shush me? Okay, so the lever is very obvious. There's big, heavy iron lever in the wall, and it's in kind of an upward position. If you wanted to, you could easily kind of pull it and crank it.
Okay, pull the lever, Crunk.
And here's the thing, like, it's obvious that we can see you finding the lever, pulling the lever, and as you find it, you know, you've already found it, you've got your hand on the lever. Ulfgar goes, yeah, that's it right there, now, and then you pull it down, and then he goes, and you're gonna want to pull it down.
Are you sure you want to stay with idiot? They undermine your intelligence at every turn.
Actually, this is a bit much for Ulfgar. This is why he learned the knock spell, because he doesn't understand locks or mechanisms.
Okay, I'm pulling the lever anyway.
All right. So once again, big metal gear noise, and the gantry slowly makes its way back across the gap. So, pathway extends once again.
All I just kept yelling to you before is just like, make sure Flippy doesn't come across.
Ulfgar encourages Scythie to come back across with him and says, let's go make some keys. And upon getting close to Tobias, he says, well done, lad. I'm glad you're able to manage that. It's a bit... And he just keeps on looking around like he's just astounded at machinery. He's just like, I've never, you know, he's just like, you've got a better grasp of it than I do. And he just keeps going. And it's like talking to a grandparent about like setting their VCR to stop blinking 12 o'clock or something like that.
Wait, what's the VCR?
Exactly. You know, he's kind of got this like,
Vallen, you're so old.
yeah, or whatever, anything like that. They're microwave. There you go. But he just has this like deer caught in headlights look about anything that seems mechanical in this place.
I just look at Tobias. I look at Ulfgar as we're going across. I'm like, he knows what he's doing. I just point at Tobias. He knows what he's doing. He's not dumb. I said, Tobias, don't listen to him. You know, look what he got us into. And just keep walking.
Ulfgar's like, well, of course he knows what he's doing. He's got one of these mechanical friends here, too. Don't understand how that all works.
I just shake my head and look at Tobias and shrug my shoulders like, I try.
So Scythie is
Sorry.
like, let's get smithing. She's Kellisto, she encourages you to follow her back to the room with the the forge for the molten iron, and
all right,
and yeah, she will head over here. She ends up over here, and she starts kind of she's turning this giant lever, like she's cranking this thing, and you see like a bucket of molten iron kind of raising up out of the pool in the other side, and she takes these great tongs and she sets she'll ask you for the book back, Kellisto.
Oh yeah, I handed it back to her almost right away.
Okay. And hang on one sec, I just need to see because I think she needs to make a check. Okay. So she takes these great tongs and takes kind of the bucket and positions it over the book, and uses the tongs and the other tools that are available to her to tip the bucket and pour molten iron into the impression that's in this book. So she does need to make a check, though. Although she does
Ulfgar
have
would
She's
use
rusty after all these years.
Ulfgar wouldn't know how to help short of giving her inspiration.
Oh. She appreciates that. Hopefully it's a good
He would
dwarven
to do inspiration in this case, he wouldn't actually use his horn. He would probably start like a small tune of like that he heard in a smithy or something like that once. Maybe he heard in a pub, Dwarven, maybe a bunch of Dwarven smiths, used to sing. He'd probably do something like that.
Okay. So she gets to roll d20 plus 2. And then the inspiration is 1d8, right?
Correct.
Okay, so she's going to roll her check for smithing. Ooh, and she needs the inspiration. So...
Come on.
Oh, God. Okay.
13.
Yeah, so she's the inspiration is what clinches the deal, and is able to kind of get the iron poured correctly into the impression, and she just about manages it. So she's able to kind of smith up one key, and there's a lot of like she has to like quench it and do the whole thing, like and knock the iron out of the cast and all this stuff, right? So yeah. I'm not going to pretend I know the process by any means. So that's one key successfully smithed up, and she kind of holds it up triumphantly after she's finished, and says she just looks like she is like I mean, her bucket list is all ticked, right? She's like she's so incredibly proud to be like forging in Hrakhamar that this is like her life's goal complete, right?
Does it look like something that Ulfgar would be able to manage with any skill?
It looks like it's tricky if you don't have kind of proficiency with smith's tools.
I don't, so at least I'm pretty sure I don't.
Yep.
Oh, I do. Holy crap.
Oh yeah. You want to try the next one? She looks like she's like I said, accomplished her life's goal. So she is, if she would encourage you, she's like, come on, Ulfgar.
Oh, he'd be like, really? You'd let me? And he'd be like, oh my. And he looks a bit shaky. I haven't done any smithing since I helped my father out with shoeing horses.
He's like, I haven't done any in a long time either. She's like, but it's a skill you don't easily forget.
Says, well, I'll give it a go. I have no idea what I need to do here.
So you need to, I think it's an intelligence check.
I've got a negative for intelligence, but I am trained, I have a tool proficiency with Smith's tools.
Well, that's going to allow you to use it without disadvantage.
Oh, I see. Okay. Hold on.
You know, I'll give you advantage for Sissy standing there coaching you through it. Basically. She's like, you hold the tongs like this, and you're like, be careful when you're pouring. Careful now, boy.
All right, well, I would get a bonus from Jack of all trades in this case,
okay.
which is I get to add half my proficiency bonus rounded down to any ability check you make that doesn't already include your proficiency bonus. Oh no, it already is included. Oh, but I'm proficient in it, so I get to add that. Okay, so it's intelligence plus 3 is what it is. Okay.
Okay.
So let me do an intelligence roll, but this is not going to have the plus 3 in it, so add 3 on this. Okay,
Oh,
natural frickin' 20.
So she's coaching you through it. So just like she's doing to you what you were doing to Tobias with the damn lever, you know. And
with what?
with the lever, you know, where he was like, stand and telling you stuff that you didn't
lever.
need to
You've
know.
already pulled the lever.
Excuse me, what?
But about halfway through, she just shuts up, and it's clear that you're like doing a better job than she was. So she's just like, she's telling you stuff, and then her voice just kind of trails away as she just like watches you do this thing that she just kind of struggled with a little bit. She just watches you do it flawlessly, and she for a moment she looks like downhearted, like.
Well, upon completing it, he would then say, "You're a master teacher."
Oh, and she like pokes right back up again.
He says, "Never have I been so inspired to make something out of metals before. This really brings a good warmth to my heart, and not just from the heat in this place."
And you're a smithy, Ulfgar.
She puts her hand around your shoulders, her arm around your shoulders, and kind of clasps your shoulder and says, "It's so good to be here with you."
He'd return the same thing, and then he'd hold the key up and say, "Shall we go see if these work, or if we're all just a bunch of blowhards here?"
No, she's super excited. She's like, "Come on, let's go!" And she's like beckoning everybody.
All right. So, back. Oops, down the hallway. Doing a little bit of a hustling total. Ulfgar is unsure which key he has, left or right or what, or are there two keyholes?
Wait, what? Yes, there are two. There's one lock above another. The one at the top is banded in adamantine, and the one at the bottom is the one where Scythia had showed you matched with kind of the rune that was inscribed in the back of the book.
The one that said end.
Endings, yeah.
All right, so I would want the key that was matching that one when I found it.
Okay. You can have the endings key.
Yeah.
And you look at the lock that's at the top.
Okay.
And it's the Dwarven rune for beginnings.
Okay. And Ulfgar would actually point that out and explain to the rest of the group, so they could all be completely in on that as well.
So Sithi's looking at you like, who's going first?
Let's do it together. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
So you're putting key in and turning together?
Yeah.
You hear a great grinding noise. And actually, where is everybody?
It's a good question.
Well, I followed because I really want to go into the room, but the thing that occurred to me on the walk over was, should we leave somebody behind at the lever? Which I kind of said out loud.
I stayed behind.
But I said, but I don't want to be the one. I want to go see what's behind the door.
I'm just like, I can stay. It's not if y'all want to go see what's in
there. There you go.
Okay, so Valia is staying. Tobias, are you staying on this side of the gantry as well, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm staying where is my token.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, Ulfgar, it sounds exactly like it did last time, and so you kind of like cringe a tiny bit as
it's like,
you hear this, and it's the same. And the gantry just
he says, all right,
recedes again.
Scythia, Kellisto, what is it that we've done wrong here? I admit I'm poorly equipped when it comes to mechanical intricacies.
I kind of shake my head and say, it says, well, do I know what it says?
He would have translated when...
I said, well, maybe you should do them one at a time, beginnings, endings. It doesn't indicate same time.
Of course. Scythia, go ahead. Try it again. Yours first.
Okay, so Scythia puts her key into the beginnings lock and turns it, and you hear a kind of what sounds like a lock click. noise from behind it.
Okay.
And she nods to you, Ulfgar. And she
but...
looks back at you, Kellisto, and smiles like,
He'd do his then.
Okay. Yep, and you hear the same kind of noise, a lock click behind. Meanwhile, the gantry is pretty much receded all the way.
Okay, Tobias, you can pull the lever again. Do you need me to tell you how to do it this time?
Yeah, I got very grim expression on my face while I put in the lever.
Ulfgar's not even looking over there and goes, Kellisto, just make sure he's got it. He understands.
I just kind of roll my eyes.
Because Ulfgar is like holding the key in place right now, just like looking over his shoulder.
You hear, Tobias, only you hear, I don't even want to know how you ended up with this group.
I like this sword.
I'm going to make an intimidation check.
Oh, yeah, sure.
What are you going to do to intimidate it?
If you won't shut up, I'm going to throw you into the lava. What was on that intimidation?
Oh, wow. Okay.
You hear a very kind of patronizing, yes, master. And then silence.
Oh, I thought you were talking about throwing Ulfgar.
Oh.
Like, yeah. Intimidate him.
It's funny. He probably did say that maybe slightly out loud.
I said it slightly out loud.
It could have been interpreted that way. That's pretty good. All right, so what happens?
So, lower lock clicks. Your key turns, the lock, you hear the lock behind it click.
Mm-hmm. Does
Yeah.
the door open?
It has not opened by itself, no.
If I push on it, slide it, pick it up, whatever.
You give it a push, and it swings open.
Okay.
And inside you see a juvenile red dragon. No, I'm just kidding.
Again.
You see inside, City's eyes just like, oh, like Aruga, you know. And she steps inside, and you see crates, and mostly and stacked very neatly and sorted are thousands of iron and adamantine ingots. So City just steps over to the nearest one and starts she's carefully looking at everything, going she's checking the ingots and she's practically drooling, you know. So this is what is in here, except there's one other thing. Resting on top of this crate here is a gauntlet made of gold.
Detect magic again. Just an instant cast. That would have been his first impulse upon walking in the room. He's looking for magic traps, per se, but magic items are helpful too.
I think can be helpful obtaining gold.
You don't get anything magical off the gauntlet though.
All right. Snoozy pugs. And I'm assuming nothing else in the room either.
Sorry, say again?
And I'm assuming that nothing else magical in the room either.
That's correct.
Okay. Excuse me. He'd walk in and be like, nice. I appreciate how they value things. And he'd kind of step aside so Kellisto could walk in too.
I'm kind of disappointed. I'm just kind of like, oh. I was hoping for like a giant pile of like gold coins or something, you know, really cool. Like, you know, like a
Do you actually say that, or were you like...
No, I said it.
Okay. He'd say, well, if it helps any, and he reaches over and he gingerly picks up one of the probably very heavy adamantine ingots and says, this is worth more than a lot of gold piles.
Yeah.
The ingot itself, you reckon it weighs about a pound.
Okay.
If you're picking up one of the adamantine ones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
City looks at you, Kellisto, and says, this is better than any gold. And as she turns, she sees the gauntlet, and you thought her eyes couldn't get any wider. They manage it somehow. And she says, oh, I remember grandfather's stories about this gauntlet.
And Ulfgar is suddenly really interested. He goes, do tell. I love a good story.
She just kind of carefully like handles it, you know, and gently picks it up. And it's just got kind of a fine layer of dust on it. And she just kind of blows the dust off.
Ulfgar like prestidigitations it while she's doing that. Just to...
And then she puts the gauntlet on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely sized for an adult dwarf. It fits her quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, this was customarily worn by the overseers of Hrakhamar. She says it's you know, a ceremonial piece, but look at the craftsmanship, and she's showing you Ulfgar, and it is very finely crafted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he'd show his appreciation.
Yeah, and she's been putting this gauntlet on, and then she stops, and you see her kind of have like this moment of hesitation, and she stops putting it on and actually kind of takes it back off again and sets it back where it was, and says, you know, it's not mine to assume just yet.
And Ulfgar sets down the adamantine ingot back where it was, looks over at her and says, why not?
She says, well, we need to, you know, regroup as dwarves first and secure the forge before I assume that I'm going to be an overseer of it. She says right now it's just an empty forge.
Well, all forges start that way. Just need to give it a little bit of fuel.
She says, when my family arrives, then we will consider it alive again.
Okay. So, I feel that we've secured this. Ulfgar takes the key that he's got and puts it in her hand. Says, this belongs to you. Shall we have a rest for the evening and the rest of the day before we head down and check the mines?
Sure. Where are we going to rest?
There was... thinking probably in this room back here, where like the smelting room, or even the armory room. Probably the armory room, that way we're not ambushed by anybody that's already got access to all the weapons and armor. I could set up my my dome in there as well.
Okay.
Any objections? Anybody else wanted to do anything this evening?
No, I'm ready to go to bed. And I just start heading out.
Okay.
Okay. Sithy will, once everybody's out of the treasury room, Sithy locks the doors behind you, and you see her put the keys on a chain around her neck and tuck them beneath her armor and her clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yep, she seems ready to take a rest as well.
Okay. Ulfgar would hold some light conversation with her in the possibility of like making adamantine weapons or armor or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's got all kinds of plans for kind of working the forge as it was intended to be, and reopening the mines, and bringing her family and her whole clan, over to the forge, and she has a whole plan laid out for bringing this back to life, or back to what she considers life.
Okay. Pop up a dome, keep the doors open, and whoops, I'm at the wrong spot. I'm still in the treasury, aren't I? Help, let me out. Get back over there. And we take a long rest. Because honestly, I have to admit, I've spent more spells outside of combat than I did when we were in combat.
Tobias, you hear a familiar voice. Why are we resting? There's so much to do.
I'm just I'm going to answer a very quiet voice. I'm not made of metal like as you are. I need to rest.
You hear kind of a sigh. And then silence again.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Telling you, they should have tried attuning to Arokh.
Do you think that will be a good idea?
Yeah, can Arokh actually hear his conversation with the sword?
Oh gosh, how many telepathic people do you have going on in that head of yours?
I think he will not be able to hear if Tobias will intend so. Well, definitely Arokh will know that something is off.
I agree. Okay. So Sithy kind of props herself up in the corner, and within, a few moments, you hear, great snores coming from that corner of the room.
Okay.
I kind of toss and turn and groan under my breath and say things under my breath like "stupid rocks should be on the ground. Ground's much softer."
Ulfgar would be pretty good sleeping where he's at. Actually, if anything, he might have some trouble getting to sleep just because of the excitement from the day.
Oh, is anyone doing watch? Those dwarves are at the entrance, right? So we don't really have to worry about that.
There are, yep, and I would say, Aelia. Let's have a look. Aelia would offer to take a watch, and Artis and Dragonbait would offer to take a watch.
Ulfgar always takes last watch, so.
And there are 3 dwarves that you know of that you left at the entrance.
Okay.
Okay.
Get a big sleep.
So then, so everybody manages to get a long, if slightly uncomfortable, rest in the armory of the forge, and when you wake, Sithy is already kind of up and about, and she seems to be kind of trying to put things back into order. She considers the fire newts to be incredibly messy individuals, and almost considers their presence in the forge to have been like kind of just a thing to make it filthy, you know. So she's like, she just wants to, yes, exactly. She just wants to expunge like any like evidence that they were ever there. So she's trying to set it right again.
Ulfgar would do what he can with prestidigitation at every opportunity.
Okay. So how long are you going to spend in the forge? And is there anything else you want to do here before you?
Short of get a good rest in. Just try and get out of Scythia. Originally, she said that she'd make some kind of adamantine item for us, and Ulfgar was thinking, you know, what's the likelihood of that happening while we're here? Or are we going to have to come back in a month's time or something, you know?
Yeah, did she say she was going to make... Her recollection is she said she would give you some adamantine ingot.
That was it, yeah. She was going to give that. So that makes sense. Ultimately, Ulfgar would be interested in potentially, like, I don't know, a suit of armor might take a long time to make. But he's thinking maybe he could get an adamantine rapier instead.
I ask her, you know, because I have just like my javelins that I make are just pretty crude. I ask her, you think you could maybe tip this with something good? Just hold up like this crude made javelin.
Yeah, and Tobias would ask if there is possibility to, if she can upgrade or his armor, his scale mail. If she can make any improvements.
So as for armor, she definitely thinks she could make it lighter for you to wear, right? So
yeah, that's
so you
that's
don't
what I'm
get
looking for.
like any penalties from it, or you get at least reduced penalties from it. She does think that that's going to take a while to do, and she thinks the same with same with the javelins, right? She could kind of improve the damage that they do, perhaps a little, but again, probably take a little bit of time. So she does have one suggestion. She says, I don't think you need my help in the mines. She says, you could have cleared these fire newts out without me ever being here. She says, there was very little that I contributed to that fight. She says, we could part ways temporarily, and I can work on these items for you, and then I can meet you in the mine. She says, I think you'll have some work ahead of you in the mine.
Right.
To keep you busy for long enough for me to do this work.
Ulfgar says, this sounds like a decent idea, but also, and he kind of leans in, don't sell yourself short. He says, would you like me to take these here? And he kind of gestures to the half-plate Dwarven armor sets. He says, would you like me to take these 3 sets here to your 3 posted at the entrance?
She says, I'm sure they would appreciate that. She says, she kind of chuckles to herself. They'll never have seen anything like this.
Ulfgar says, well, and he picks up the battle axe that he has. He says, I don't know that this is really going to do me much good. I'm much better, and he holds up the rapier and says, I hate to say it, but I'm better with this. And he puts it back, and he says, but I think I'll give them this one. And he picks up a couple more battle axes, a couple some shields, and he asks the rest of the group to help carry the armor.
And she said, what she says is, she says, while you're away, she says, I'll forge new versions of your items. So new tips for your javelins, a new blade for your rapier, and new scales for your armor.
I could use a better shield.
So actually, I don't have to give her my scale mail.
Correct. You can keep your stuff, is what she's saying, and she'll work on, like, you know, forging new bits for it that you can
Oh, okay.
fit when you meet up with her. She says, you see her, the wheels are kind of turning. I'll probably need to take one of the carts to bring all your gear to you, but then I'll have some help. And she's like muttering to herself about how she's going to meet up with you in the mines with all this, gear.
Ulfgar says, would you like me to have one of the other dwarves come back and help you with this?
She says, don't worry, I'll get them when I need them.
All right.
I just hold up my bone shield. I'm like, I think you might be able to have something laying around here better than that.
She says, shields are not our specialty.
Okay, yeah, I did
That's
say
okay.
that.
These are the bones of my enemies, so it's okay.
So yeah,
I just put my
skip
Her
the...
eyes kind of get big.
Ulfgar doesn't grab battle axes. He grabs great axes because I realize there aren't any shields in this room. So he grabs 3 great axes.
Okay. Yeah.
I pipe up really quick. Can I get a scimitar? Since I didn't ask for anything.
She says, of course.
Okay, great.
So I'd imagine we probably bring 3 great axes, 3 half-plate suits, and 3 heavy crossbows with a quarrel each for the dwarven
Yeah,
guards.
that would be really good.
No, I almost asked for some silvered stuff, and I was like, wait, wrong campaign.
Actually, I have an idea. Instead of doing that, I think I can turn into... I might be able to turn into a mule or a horse and carry everything for everyone and just run it up there.
Up to you.
Callisto,
I don't know
the workhorse.
how to... Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's enough of us. I mean, like, artists could grab a suit of plate, or a suit of half plate, and Dragon Plate carry one. Arokh could carry one. We could all just make it in one trip, really.
I look at Ulfgar, I'm like, we're in a mine. They have carts. There's tracks. I just shrugged my shoulder.
It wasn't that far to get in here. I think we'll be all right.
Okay.
I don't know. That's awfully heavy.
Aelia pipes up and says, some of us are already, well equipped for carrying.
Yeah, I mean, between Aelia and I, if I turn into a draft horse, we could probably get up there. Get back within like a minute.
I mean, I can only carry like 225 pounds, so I'm already this bag of holding and all.
Meanwhile, Ulfgar is struggling with 3 great axes because they're bigger than he is.
Oh, I'm sorry, 255 pounds.
All right, so you can almost pick up Ulfgar. No, I'm kidding.
I'm like, you know what? I look at everybody. I'm like, you could put it in this bag, right? It weighs nothing. I just open the bag. I just open the bag and just like shake my head.
All right. Never mind. Artist, Dragonbait, we need you to carry some stuff. He winks at you. We need you to carry these half-plate suits.
Artist says, I'd love to help, but actually my afternoon is fully booked. I am washing my hair.
I point at Artist's hands. I said, do you see that? Those are not the hands of a working man.
Exactly.
I said, here, I just pull up a pile of rocks. I'm like, here, rest your feet. We know you're tired.
He says, I appreciate it, Valerie. Pull up a pile of rocks.
I just look at Dragonbait and I just shake my head and giggle.
Yep, I think he's smelling like lemons at the moment.
What does that even mean?
I'm just like, put the stuff in here. Let's go do this so we can get in the mines and clear it out as fast as possible.
Did we get a long rest?
Yes, you did.
Okie doke.
Yay, I was hurt.
Alright, spells recovered all. Yay, inspiration recovered. I need like you did a full rest, recover everything button on this sheet.
Be nice.
There probably is one and I don't know about it.
Yeah, maybe.
Alright, then my inspiration. Okay. Oh.
Okay, so who is carrying stuff? Well, is it all going in the bag and one person is heading up, or what's the plan to deliver the goods?
I'd guess that we could probably manage with just one person going up with the bag. If it's Valia, she could probably just go up there with the bag. Hey, out.
I mean, it's literally going to take like...
Yeah. This is why it wasn't a big deal. It's just
tops.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I was waiting for somebody to put it in the bag so I could, go up there real quick and come.
Ulfgar would accompany you while holding the great axes because he feels weird about putting large bladed weapons in that small bag. There you go.
Like, really, I can take it on my own. You don't have to come with me.
He says, but these are dwarven battle axes.
I kind of pipe up and say, Ulfgar, she's trying to get away from you.
He says, I know, but I don't know if the others feel very comfortable around non-dwarven types. I was trying to be nice.
I'm always nice.
Right.
Extremely nice.
I mean, look what I did for the fire needs. Uh-huh. What did you say? Something about diplomatic people or friends or whatever?
He says, let's
look
go.
At Callisto and wink at her.
He's got the great axes and he just kind of like stumbles off. Let's go.
Okay.
Callisto, Dad's being mean again.
I burst out laughing and I go sit next to Artist. Put my feet on his pile of rocks.
I just look at everybody and like, don't hurt yourselves while we're gone. We'll be back.
Okay. So you head back along the tracks the way. Well, I assume you're going back the way you came.
Yeah, and Ulfgar says, "So I hope you brought a torch."
Take the shortcut. Here's the shortcut right here. Take the shortcut.
Nope, that's all right. I'm stumbling around with 3 great axes as it is.
We opened up everything. Yeah, I'll just take the shortest route. I'm just gonna go.
You're gonna go, don't go that way. Just go the way that we went before, which is down this way. Ulfgar would be like, I don't trust those machines up there. They're very old and haven't been maintenance in who knows how long. Come on, let's just go along the tracks. It's just down here.
This is why you should have stayed behind.
Says you can't see where you're going anyway. Come on.
There's lava everywhere.
Except down this tunnel. Let's go.
Just put my head down and stomp my feet. Go.
He takes off down the tunnel.
So you cross the little bridge where the tracks are again.
Mm-hmm. And
can you both make a perception check for me?
Sure.
Yay, I'm very perceptive. There's lava everywhere.
So you are... When you get a bit further, right? So when you're at this point here, you look to what's your left on this time. So you look like over here. Ooh, over here.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of happen to glance that way, and this cave area beyond is here, let me reveal a bit of it. It's kind of like smoke filled, and you Valia, you notice there seems to be a lantern light from in the smoke.
I look at Ulfgar and I lean in. I grab his shoulder and pull him. I kind of pull him back like here, so we are kind of hidden a little bit. And I'm like, I whisper to him, I'm like, "Do you see that? There's smoke." I said, "There's a lantern light in there. Do you think somebody might be?"
It might just be our dwarven friends.
I don't know. They were at the entrance. I don't think they would have came in unless she told them to. So you want to go and check it out? I mean, there's smoke in there too, so...
Well, I can see better, and I can be sneaky. I can go.
You can press to whatever that thing is that you do at the smoke, right?
No, it doesn't work like that. It just cleans up messes, not clears up the air.
I mean, it's pretty messy.
He sets down the great axes on the ground and says, "Let me just have a quick peek."
Yeah, not quite at all.
And then he tries sneaking around the corner until he sees what's going on. Heading in. Whoops, that's not it. Heading in here.
Sorry, do it again.
In here.
So, okay, so you're gonna stealth your way in?
Yes.
Okay. So can you make a stealth check?
Yep. On it.
Okay. You're stealthy.
That's right.
Okay, so you're immediately the smoke was already kind of visible, and the further you head into that area, the smokier it's getting, right? And the size and the shape of it is actually impossible to determine. And the smoke begins to kind of sting your eyes. And as you get into it as well, there's drifting embers in the smoke. And they kind of burn your throat as you breathe. But you do see further in is what definitely looks like light. Like it's not because you have dark vision, right?
Yes.
Okay, so even in your dark vision, this is not like a natural light that you're seeing. It's a specific source.
Right. Is it where is it coming from? Like straight ahead, off to the sides?
It's coming from straight ahead.
I guess I'd glance either way and proceed on further.
Okay.
I'm just gonna follow in behind him, even though he told me to stay.
You're the one that told me to sneak ahead.
Here, let's start.
You're terrible.
Can you bring your tokens over, actually?
Oh yeah, that might help.
Stop
Sorry, I thought we were just gonna pop out there real quick.
Yeah.
DM is dead set on killing somebody today.
Well, she had to wait for us to split the party.
Party splitting.
Party splitting.
So you're looking to the left and right. To the left, it's a little bit easier to kind of see what's going on. Still very smoky, but you can see kind of the just beyond the smoke is like the glow of the magma.
Mm-hmm.
To the right, you have no idea what is there because the smoke is dense, and your dark vision is not, doesn't help you see through it. So,
okay.
It's not the fact that it's dark; it's just so heavily obscured by this smoke.
Okay.
And there are these Valia, you see it as well. There are these glowing kind of embers floating through the smoke as well.
I just kind of point to Ulfgar, not that he could. I don't know if he can see me or not, and point towards the.
He'd just stay completely quiet, put his finger up to his lips, and continue on forward.
Okay. So could you make a... Hang on 1 second. Can you make a Constitution saving throw?
Oh boy.
The smoke is starting to really kind of choke you, actually.
Okay.
Both of us.
Yep, both of you. Okay. So you are okay so far. You can kind of feel it though in your throat. It's almost impossible not to kind of cough and choke in this smoke.
I just kind of lean over to Ulfgar. I'm like, we need to hurry. The smoke's getting pretty bad. So, I'll just keep pushing. I'm gonna just push him forward.
Are you going to resist being shoved, Ulfgar, or are you?
Well, I mean, I was walking forward to try and see what I could see anyway, so.
You can't see anything except smoke.
Then I'd still proceed forward a little bit further.
Okay.
And did I take any damage from that con save, by the way?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Okay. But okay. So.
Sorry, let me move my character there.
So there's the little cinders that have been kind of trailing through the air. They've just been kind of slowly floating around, right? Suddenly there's a rush of them towards you, and you are both blinded by this.
Cool.
So you couldn't really see what was going on before. Now you can't see anything at all. Not even the smoke in front of your face. You are blinded by this rush of cinders.
Probably stumble backwards just because I don't want to get hit by some kind of flaming whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna be like, let's try to go another way if there's another.
Okay, so how are you guys doing this now? Because you're both blinded. Okay? So how are you finding your way?
Yeah, I just kind of like stand there for a moment in hopes that, you know, I'm assuming like a flashbang would, you know, blind me momentarily, that's what is happening here. So I just stand still for a moment and try and blink it away.
I'm gonna rummage in my bag and find a piece of scrap cloth and put some water on it and like kind of dab it on my eyes and see if that helps.
So make another Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Okay. So Valia, you're okay. Ulfgar, you take a level of exhaustion, actually. While the smoke just overcomes you and you start coughing and kind of gagging with the smoke. And so now you're blinded and you feel like you're choking on the smoke. And you take a level of exhaustion.
Hearing him start coughing and gasping, I'm just gonna pull him and just back out the way we came. I'm like, we can't do this. We can't handle this. So I'm gonna pull him out.
Okay. So you both take 1 point of bludgeoning damage from trying to kind of stumble backwards towards the clear air. So bumping and banging around against the cave walls in there while you're blinded. But you feel like you can breathe easier again, but you're still actually blinded at the moment.
He's the only one blinded, right?
No, you're both blinded.
Oh, okay. I thought I passed the roll.
No, there was no check for that because of the way it was received, shall we say.
Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna like feel for the tracks, and once I feel them, I'm just gonna try to kind of move away from that entrance.
You're muted, Vallen.
Does that fix it?
Yep.
Is there a way I can figure out if this might be a permanent injury, the blindness, or if this is only temporary?
So while you're sitting or standing there, kind of trying to figure it out, your vision does slowly does clear a tiny bit. So you can kind of make out blurry shapes, and just like can make out that there's a big glow of light to one side of you and darkness to the other side. So you begin to kind of regain your sight.
All right. I kind of like grab hold of Valia if I can. If we were still hanging on to each other, because she pretty much pulled me back out. And I'm like waving my hand in front of her and see if she recognizes my hand movement.
Yeah, Valia, you can kind of see this blurry thing that's moving around in front of your face.
I just reach out and smack it really hard.
Figured as much, yeah. And Ulfgar would try and encourage the two of them to head in the direction of the exit. Basically south. Try and go this way.
Okay. All right. So yeah, after a few more moments, your vision kind of returns to normal. Valia, you feel just like yourself again. Ulfgar, you've got kind of still this lingering like cough of the smoke that you inhaled and the scent that got down your throat, but nothing that particularly impedes you. You will need to obviously kind of recover from the level of exhaustion as you normally would. But aside from that, you're kind of back to normal.
Ulfgar says, well, I don't think that was our dwarven buddies. I don't know what's going on over there, but we should see if they're still at the entrance. Now that I can see better, let me go grab those axes I left on the ground. I didn't want to step in on them, so I directed us away from it.
Okay.
I just sit there for a minute and I'm like, yeah, we need to, I don't know what that is, but we don't want to go back in.
Right, I'm just going to go grab the axes, and he just heads straight back to grab the axes and then heads back towards the entrance.
Okay. Yeah, you can find the axes, and then you think a few moments up those steps and you'll be at the entrance of the forge where the dwarves are waiting.
Okay, I need to let's get these to them, and then we can go and tell the rest of the people what's going on. See if they're okay as well. That might be a magma leak or some of the lava coming up through one of the side walls.
Okay. So yep, you head up the steps, and out into the. It's so bright outside compared to like being in the forge and then being in the dark in general. So it's very bright outside, but the three dwarves are waiting at the entrance, and seem to have been keeping watch.
Larry, Curly, and Mo. So Ulfgar speaks up in Dwarven, because I don't know that he's actually heard them speak in anything but Dwarven. Have they spoken in common, perhaps?
I think they've given, like, their common is very broken.
Okay, so he'd speak in Dwarven and says, we've come with weapons and armor for you, reinforce you and let you know what we're up to. And he holds out, like, a great axe to each one of them and puts it...
Yeah, take it readily and kind of swing it a couple of times, test swings, and
he speaks to Valia and says, Valia, would you mind bringing out the bows and armor out the bag, please? And
I'll open the bag and just start pulling stuff out, the stuff that they want, that he needs.
And Ulfgar would kind of catch them up with, you know, we cleared out the area, found the treasury is intact, and we're going to take the group down into the mines, but they should be careful if they enter through this entrance and take a right. There may be some kind of lava spill or magma overflow. There's a blinding, smoky area in there. Best be entering it with caution if they do.
Okay. They start immediately putting the armor on, and they're kind of, doing the buckles and everything, and then they load up the crossbows and getting everything situated that you you've delivered to them. And they look at you when you say lava spill or something, and they're like, they kind of look at each other like, this dwarf doesn't know what he's talking about, you know. But they just kind of nod like, lava spill, okay. And promise that they will be careful.
Okay. All right, Valia, let's head back.
All right. Avoid that area.
Okay. I
Okay.
agree.
when you look into that area, unless you're just not looking, right?
No.
But if you look into the area, you still definitely see point of light like a lantern, kind of deep in the smoke.
When we get here, I'd like to at least take a look to the left.
Oh, yeah, okay. So to the left, you see...
Or west, I should say.
Yep. Tracks,
okay.
leading away.
Okay.
Mine tracks.
Okay.
I kind of want to build this in Minecraft. I really want to build this in Minecraft.
I think Robin was building the manor in Minecraft.
Yeah.
But yeah, we both head back, you know, the same path that we took before.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Right, so, yeah, you regroup.
I immediately tell Sithy what we found. Some blinding lantern light that was kicking out choking smoke, and Ulfgar sounds really groggy and has like this cough. And it gave off a blinding light and shot up all sorts of sparks and everything. I don't know if it was another machine malfunctioning or if there was a lava spill or something.
She's like, there aren't any machines that I know of in that area, and I can't think of a way that lava would get over there. Magma. Magma.
Maybe before we head down into the mines, then we inspect this area first, considering it's right next to the guards that you have out front.
We can do that. Possibly I could deal with the smoke.
That would be useful.
You hear a small voice. I can help.
I want to stab the smoke. Ulfgar talks to Sithy and says, so I realize that you've got quite the full plate. And he kind of like gives her a jab in the ribs with that, you know, kind of like a pun at the moment.
She doesn't get it. She's too busy thinking about like, so it just flies right past her.
He says, would it be too much to ask if I could, and he kind of like pulls at his armor a little bit and says, get this a bit of an upgrade as well. Or is that too much to ask?
She says, well, which do you want, the rapier or the armor?
I'd go for the rapier.
She doesn't seem inclined to do both for you.
Fair enough. Okay. So, who all's coming along to go inspect the flame anomaly?
The smoke monster?
Yes. Oh gosh. And then we got lost immediately after.
Don't get lost on us, please.
Dungeons and Dragons lost.
I say I vote for the mines.
Next time we do an episode of D&D, I'm going to be like, previously on Lost. No.
You know the correct number sequence to open the hatch. I mean...
Ulfgar coughs as he says, what, you afraid you're going to end up afraid of a bit of smoke? And he like painfully actually coughs a bit.
I just look at you. I said I could have just left you there.
But I didn't leave you there, now did I?
I just look at you.
Besides, Tobias here says he can clear the way.
I don't think it's something we need to mess with right now.
Well, I think it'd be nice to know if there's going to be a natural catastrophe. There's been one in this place before.
Yeah, I don't think that's natural.
All the more reason, then.
Nope.
Why not?
We almost died in there.
It was a bit of smoke. Tobias said he could clear it up. We're fine. Come on. Let's go stab some smoke monster then.
Tobias also keeps looking like he's talking to that new weird sword that he's got, but, you know.
You haven't noticed that yet, so stop it.
He keeps leaning down looking at it. Come on.
I think that's you. Beautiful. Obviously, you're jealous that he's got a shiny new skull-laden sword. And you've got to wait for your adamantine-covered javelins. So let's go waste some time killing some things with your normal javelins. And then when we get back, you'll have some nice shiny new ones.
It's on the way, right?
No, it's not on the way. It's back towards the entrance. And I just shake my head.
Well, she did say that would actually, just by the entrance, if we took a left, we would end up down in the mine in the past. So I think that there are multiple ways to get into the mines. There's at least 3 tracks that we know of. Hey, Sithy, which way goes to the mines? Is it...
She points to this one. Oh, except I don't have my doodad. She points to this one.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just do the mines. We could do the other thing when we get back.
Right. All right. Well, I guess the guards are already aware of it. But if it moves into the mine, I worry about Sithy's safety.
Sithy says, you should be worrying about your own. She says, you've got a day's walk ahead of you at least to get there.
See, I nod and point. See?
All right, all right. If you feel safe enough, then we'll head down this way instead of going after the smoke monster.
I just look at him and I'm like, besides, she's born of the lava. And I look at Sithy like, yeah.
He says, I have no intention of leaving this forge unless it's feet first.
See, she'll be alright.
Ulfgar looks very concerned but willing to go down the mines.
Okay, so Sithy kind of accompanies you to. She kind of walks over here, you know, in this direction with you, and says, "I haven't seen this path. I haven't taken this path before myself." She says, "But I understand it's a good day and a half walk before you get there." She says these tunnels. You just follow the mine tracks and that will take you all the way down there. She says, can't really get lost, but it's not especially safe.
All right.
She says, do you have food and water with you?
Aye, we've got what we brought with us.
Okay. She says, just making sure, because it's a long walk.
Okay. You guys are probably seeing Ulfgar getting a taste of his own dad medicine.
It'd be nice if we still had that jug, right?
Aye.
But we've got plenty of bat.
Couldn't one of us actually make food and water? I forget.
I can purify.
Was it...
Check, see if Aelia can.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Aelia might have been able to.
I think she might be able to make water for 1 moment. Nope, she does not have the ability to make food or water that I am seeing.
Right. Well, Let me check and see what I've got on me for food and water, because I don't think that that has been an issue up until now. I still have a partial clay jug of mead or tej. So, and I was supposed to get rid of that a long time ago.
See, you were mocking Sithy like she was worried about you for no reason. Really?
Pretty sure I still have one full jug of Tesh. Maybe, maybe not.
Maybe.
So that should last, what, half a day?
Half an hour.
Depending on how annoying Ulfgar is.
He drives me to drink.
It's all Ulfgar's fault.
So besides that, Ulfgar has no food. So how about the rest of you?
I have dried fish and still have some rations.
The same as
I think I have ration. And bat. I think we still have some bat left.
Yeah, you probably have like a day's worth of bat left.
Well, that's only going to get us down there. That won't get us back. Unless we do half rations, but...
And the little bit of food that I found in the place.
Oh. In the place?
I don't know how much that is. When I was off on my own.
I'm flashing to like Lord of the Rings, where Samwise is counting up the lembas bread, going, I think we have enough to get back.
Yeah, we have more than enough.
One bite of lamnas bread's enough to feed you for a week. Oh, I've eaten 2 loaves. How much food did you find, Kellisto, aka Dungeon Master?
I would say half a dozen rations.
I still had a week's worth of rations that we didn't touch because we got all the back.
So are those rations still good, or do you need to clean them? He kind of like looks at you questioningly, like he doesn't understand the purify thing.
Wait, what?
She can purify food and drink. But,
yeah, I can render it free of poison and disease.
But she found some questionable rations, and he wasn't sure of the quality of them and if they were actually edible.
So they were in a sealed barrel, that you were fairly sure hadn't been tampered with by the fire newts. So,
okay,
they're in good shape.
Okay then. Well then, I think we're all right.
Yeah, Valia says she has a whole week's worth for her, which, as long as we're not more than like 2 days. Besides, you can go like a while without eating, as long as we have water.
At that moment, Ulfgar's stomach like goes growl. Right, a while without eating. Sure. He says, "Let's go then. Have we got some water? I know we've got Tej."
Okay. So you're heading in?
Well, assuming that we have some form of liquid sustenance besides mead.
Well, there should be water here, right? Because they have to use that to cool things down. So we could just fill the empty Tesh bottle that you have with water as well. I mean, that's how blacksmiths work.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want some water as well, Sithy would also share from their kind of their
I'm sure they have some kind of spring. It's a mountain, regardless of whether it's fire lake or not.
Yeah. She says they can always set out. They have a rain catcher, so they can always set that out if they need to. So she would be happy to share some water supplies with you if you're short.
So Ulfgar, in taking a jug or skin or whatever of water from her, leaves the partially filled clay jug of Tej and says, "Here you go.
Okay.
This will keep you warm if you get cold."
I just shake my head and say, "Let's go to the mine."
Right. Off we go.
All right. So as you're you hear movement from up ahead immediately. So over here you see kind of a cave, and then you can kind of see the tracks curve, but you can hear movement up ahead as soon as you start kind of heading into this area.
Okay.
It sounds like
Is it obvious everybody hears it?
yes, yeah. It sounds like something large just kind of shuffling around a bit.
All right. I pull my weapon.
I'm gonna go first around the corner. Just kind of sneak around the.
Okay.
Continue forward.
Make a stealth check. Be sneaky.
Nope. I'm like, hey, everybody.
Oh, hang on. Let me have a look. I should have had this open already, but I don't. Sorry about that.
It's my lower center of gravity. I'm more sure-footed.
Oh, where the heck?
I wasted my stealth roll in the smoke area.
So is Tobias or is Arokh coming along?
Yeah, he'll be hanging around right behind us. So
Kellisto, you're coming too.
Yep.
She doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
She's being escorted
No,
by her
if I
healer.
walked away, then I'd be splitting the party.
Party splitting.
So you proceed forward. So Valia, how far forward are you moving? Yeah. Well, let me do it this way.
Right
Actually.
at the corner.
So yeah, so once you get kind of up to the corner, you see, in these little kind of cave openings, is the things that you had previously seen from a great distance. They're riderless. Do I have a handout for them? So ignore the rider guy. That's I don't have a handout for them, unfortunately. But these are giant striders, basically, and they're this kind of featherless giant birds. They look almost like dinosaurs. They're kind of a cross between a bird and a giant bird and a dinosaur. Their beaks look quite fierce, and they've got kind of some fairly serious claws on their back feet, and then they've got these little kind of almost wing / arm, that they've got tucked kind of behind their chest. So they are tethered. In this one is tethered in this cave area. It has not spotted you yet. But they're tethered, yeah, and the tethers just look, and it's just a kind of a not particularly thick, it's fairly like thin piece of rope that is just tying the strider kind of it's tethered to the wall a bit further in, as far as you can see. But it has not noticed you yet.
Okay.
Is there any light coming down the cavern way? Okay.
Well, there is light. I don't know if you can see that ping, but there is light coming from over this direction.
Okay. Yes, I can see the ping.
Okay.
Alright, I'm gonna scoot in a little closer.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem to notice you. And it just seems to be kind of like shuffling around, like, it just occasionally kind of adjusts its stance. It's just like a horse in a stable.
Okay, I'll just kind of wave to everybody, like, hold my finger up, like be quiet, just kind of wave them to.
Mm-hmm. And you can see a bit further down, there's another opening as well. And then the track continues
I'm gonna
forward.
move down a little bit.
Okay. Yep, you do see kind of into this one as well. and you see, looks like two are tethered in here. But again, they don't seem to be aware of you. They have not noticed your presence yet.
Okay. I'm gonna go just a little further down and wait for.
Ulfgar actually makes himself somewhat visible to this one here. Just like gently coming out and trying to like see if it responds like a horse. You know, like a tamed horse.
Okay.
Like he might be able to approach it safely and
So when it notices, so basically you're kind of like you're no longer being stealthy, right? I mean, not being like aggressive movement, but just kind of no longer hiding at all, right? Okay. So when it notices you, it gets very agitated. It starts kind of tossing its head around, like tether, and like it's squawking in these big, like kind of cough-like squawks. And it's pushing with its back feet, like kicking out.
Ulfgar would kind of call behind him and say, Kellisto, can you calm this down? It seems to be a bit agitated.
When you call out, you hear, and Valia, you see as well, the two that are in this area. Valia, you see their heads like immediately kind of go full alert, right? And they start pulling and jostling and getting very agitated as well.
I'm like, Ulfgar, I worked so hard to get past them. Seriously.
And you hear then a similar commotion from down in this direction as well.
Alright, I'm going to use my speak with animals to see if I can talk to one of these in this gate. The closest one here.
Okay.
And I say, calm down, we don't mean you any harm, we're just checking on things. I don't know if they understand me.
See, actually, they are monstrosities. So I don't know that. Right? Does speak with animals work for monstrosities?
Beasts.
Yeah, I think it's just beasts.
So they continue to be very agitated, and you can see actually that they're pulling, and the tether is beginning to kind of slip and break loose.
I yell in Draconic to stop because I'm thinking, well, the fire needs spoke Draconic. Maybe they, understand it. I'm not sure. I'm just like trying something.
Ulfgar realizes he's not helping any at this point, and he just steps out of view of it in hopes that will help it to calm down.
The rest of you hear this as well, right? So now down the tunnel, there's these really deep bird squawks that are kind of like a cough, so that they're really kind of sharp, and there's lots of commotion going on. You hear what sounded like a small amount of movement before. Now there is a lot of movement. You hear like scraping against the stone. Just all kinds of shenanigans going on down this tunnel.
Alright, I'm just like holding my hands out and like yelling at them, stop, calm down in Draconic to see if it works. If not, I'll try to retreat back and be like, Ulfgar.
It does not seem to have any effect.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I heard this. I heard him call my name, and I kind of walk in and kind of hear and see what's going on.
Yep.
And then I'm like, I can't really help you here. But hey, food!
Ulfgar says, well, ideally, I think we could potentially just let these beasts loose, but I wonder if their masters are some of the ones that we killed.
Probably.
Or if there may still be some in here that didn't get escorted out.
I don't know, maybe another animal-ish person would be more helpful. Maybe a rock or something.
So as you guys are talking, this one, you see it breaks the tether.
Yeah, it was bound to happen.
Yeah, I yell, "Coming through! One's loose!"
And when it realizes that it's free, it turns to you, Valia, and make a dex saving throw. It does a step forward and needs you to make a dexterity saving throw.
I use my luck on that.
Yeah?
That's
Okay.
bad.
Alright, so you are going to take half damage. Can I do the thing? No? Okay, fine. So 4d6.
So upon hearing you say, "Coming through, one of them's loose," Ulfgar would say, "No, don't set it free."
So yeah, it hurls this glob of flame at you, and that engulfs a 10-foot sphere, which you are standing in. So you do take fire damage for 10 points of fire damage. And I think at this point we should probably roll initiative.
that was a good damage roll, by the way.
Every time.
And I need
All right.
Dragon Day to know.
Initiative. Oh, stop it! Stop it!
Right.
There you go. Good old-fashioned initiative right there.
Dragon
I could see Scythie like hard at work on stuff, and suddenly just this stampede of these things comes through, and nothing else. At some point, it just goes straight back out the other way. She's just standing there looking.
Okay. Yes.
Contemplating their life choices.
Yeah, really. Why did I ask these guys to help? Scythie, let's get Scythie in here just in case she's needed.
Okay.
Do I still have her selected? I do. Okay, cool. Right, there we go. So let's organize this. I think I've got everybody. Oh, I didn't have Aelia. Hang on one sec, sorry. Where are you, Aelia?
It's alright, you're controlling more than enough NPCs right now. As well as potential enemies.
Okay, and initiative, Aelia. Okay, I think that's everybody, right? So let's sort. Okay, so Arokh.
Yeah, Arokh goes first. What it looks like.
Get him!
Get him! Okay, he's going to rush forward. And he's going to take a very deep breath and raise a very big roar just to scare them off.
Okay, so like intimidate them.
Yeah, intimidation check.
Yes, please.
This is going to be fun because it's -1.
No sense. He's this big mechanical fury.
Yeah.
It comes out as more squeaks and gears.
Okay. All right. Yeah. This. Well, you'll see what their reaction is in a moment. Anything else Arokh would like to do, though?
I don't think it's anything that he could attack, but that will be defeating the whole purpose of that action. Yeah, that'll be for this turn.
Okay. Callisto.
Well, I don't want to be the first one to attack, so I'm just going to basically hold my turn. Not do anything.
Tobias?
Tobias, what is Tobias going to do? I still got that wand of web. So I'm going to anticipate the one, the closest one, the one in sight. Yeah, this one.
Okay.
You're going to effectively retether them.
So are you using it now or are you waiting?
Yeah, I'm using on the one that is loose.
Okay. I have to remember how web works, and the compendium is like
Hold on.
not working right now.
I get it for you.
For me.
That doesn't help any. Here we go.
Oh, he gets a dexterity saving throw, I think.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, that was a poor thing to actually copy.
Yeah, don't worry, I found it. That's alright.
Okay.
So
One
they
has
get
7 charges, so it will be 6.
They fail. So this one is hang on, move out of the way. Is webbed. So let me give him a little. We're gonna do that. He's webbed. So that one is stuck fast. Failed his dex saving throw to get out of the way and is now encased in globby web. I didn't know I could put turn order over there. That's handy. Okay. All right. Anything else Tobias would like to do?
And definitely he will be let's make this interesting. I'm going to run some rails, but yeah, what gives? I'm going to use mold. Tobias is going to use mold air on this bit of. Is it a rock or is it earth?
It's rock.
It's rock. There is any loose dirt or some gravel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's going to chuck a cube of gravel from the nearest pebbles that he just lying around and chuck them into this space.
Okay.
Kind of make it difficult terrain.
Yeah, so the ground kind of vibrates a little bit and all the gravel, pebbles, dirt kind of come together to form this, mound of this kind of blocky mound of material that is now, blocking that track a little bit. Or I would say, it's blocking it. What's the space again on it?
It's 5 foot cube.
All right, sweet. Then, there's this like, Ulfgar. I mean, that's taller than you, right? You're
Just a bit, yep.
Don't see over it anymore. Yeah. Yep. This big mound of dirt and gravel forms in front of you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Next, they get to move. So they have these great long legs, right? So they're like. So he is going to step out of the tunnel over here, and he's going to try and bite Valia. Where's the bite? There it is.
Was there any response to the intimidation?
Not from that one. This one, so this one kind of cowers a little and is struggling with the web. So that's basically that one's turn. And the other one still hasn't broken free. Yeah, okay. So that's their turn. Right. Aelia is going to come and check out what's going on. Comes and stands in between you guys. And she's gonna kind of hold her action. Getting a bit difficult to see kind of what. She's going to hold her action to wait if any others break free. Artis is going to do the same. City is not involved yet. So Valia. City's going to move up a little. Okay.
Is that square the flame gross is?
That square is a big mound of dirt and gravel that you believe Tobias has summoned.
Well, I'm going to just claw at this thing. I'm gonna rage for a bonus and claw.
Okay.
What happened to the peaceful Valia?
I mean, the one spit fire at me, so. See, I'm gonna bite him, rip into him, bite.
Rip and tear.
That's the first attack.
Okay.
Rip.
So you take a big chunk out of him. And he seems very seriously wounded from that bite.
And the second. Nope.
That I'm pretty sure misses. Let me double check.
Sure it is. That's a 10.
Yeah. You never know. But yeah.
Yeah, I just rip into him, rip out a big chunk and spit it in the floor.
Tasty strider meat.
Yeah, that's all I have. And by the way, I made Flippy stay back in that big area. I told him we'll come back for it.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right. Ulfgar.
I guess he'd move up one space. Hold an action until anything attacks. He would attack back. Yeah.
Okay.
If it attacks him or any of his neighboring people and it's within reach of him, he would attack. Otherwise, he's just going to hold his action.
Okay. Dragonbait does the same. He's going to stand up close to Artis and Arokh.
Arokh, I think I don't see any threat. What was the response of this? This one?
He didn't for the intimidation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He did not seem intimidated.
So let's do this again.
Okay.
Breath attack, what?
Yeah. Just to be clear, the breath attack isn't as useful as it should be.
It is if Valia is between you and the enemy.
Fair point. Intimidation.
Okay.
And he's going to stay where he is for the time being.
All right. Kellisto?
I kind of
a whole lot of held actions.
Yeah. No, I mean I have an idea, so I kind of say that out loud. Like, I have an idea, guys.
Grapple.
If I turn everyone invisible and you like push yourself against the wall, maybe I can turn into a horse, and then Valia can ride me outside, and maybe the thing will follow. Or the things will follow.
So you can turn everybody invisible?
Well, I mean, they'll become visible once I get once I leave. But I can turn them like
is this
pass without a trace.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
And
want
then
us
somehow
to clear a path and you lure them out?
Yes.
I don't mind. I'll give anything a try at this point.
I mean, unless we really want to kill them, but they're just they're just animals that are kind of, I think.
They're just animals that, let Valia on fire with their fire spit.
True. I mean, this could be a bad
guys
idea.
did that you let go?
They were reasonable. I could talk them out of it.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I mean, if you guys don't like the idea, we don't have to do it. But I just thought might be worth a try.
I'm all for it, but I think the dwarves at the entrance might disagree.
Well, that's why Valia has to come with me. She can shout at them.
So the thing with Pass Without a Trace as well is that it gives you a bonus to a stealth check, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't let you kind of like hide in plain sight.
Okay.
So if you were to like retreat out of sight and hide, then I think that would definitely work. But I guess a stealth check, I would obviously, I'm not going to let you guys stop doing stuff, right? But I would think that having him right there is going to be a disadvantage because he can kind of see, right? He can see you, so it's kind of...
Okay, I guess we'll just have to kill them.
He's gonna be insulted that that we're thinking he's so stupid that he can't see us standing there. Then he's really gonna get angry.
And another thing, if you want to kind of like try and pass unnoticed, would be, and you could, and this wouldn't work for everybody obviously, but Kellisto, you could turn into something quite small and slip past them.
I can. Oh, and then they could maybe follow me. Well, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, let's see if we can make this work. I'm gonna turn into a spider.
Wonder Twin powers activate. A giant spider or just a regular size?
Just a regular spider.
Okay.
And then I'm going to... Can't quite make it. I'm going to move right here, and then on my next turn I will move. I'm just a little spider on the wall.
Yeah, I was about to say, you could probably get further and be up on the wall or the ceiling or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, my speed is only 20, so I guess I could move here. Is it, so if I turn into a spider, is it 20 additional or just part of moving to the...
No, so like the turning into a spider would be your action, and then you have your whole 20 feet of movement.
Okay, so if I move before though, that's kind of what because I had to move up to...
Oh, okay. Then I would take that off your total as Kellisto, not your spider's total.
Yep, I'm just going to stop here and crawl up onto the ceiling, basically.
Okay. All right. So you guys watch as Kellisto becomes very tiny. Bias. And then you lose track of her because seriously.
Yeah, before I did this, I told them my intention was to get to the other side of him so that I can turn it into something else and get them to follow.
Yeah, I'm going to continue webbing.
Go web.
So the next one who's going to get sticky.
He tries to dodge out of the way. Ooh. What's the saving throw? Is it 15?
Should be above.
Oh, that went past. It just says the spell DC. Did I give you the DC for that?
No.
Oops.
Okay, what I'm seeing in the description of this item is... yeah, well, it is save DC, yes. Say DC is 15.
Oh, okay. All right. So he, I think if he reaches it, then hang on. Let me go back and look at the thing again. Oh, that's the strength check.
If he meets a DC, he beats it.
Okay. Okay, dexterity. Okay. So, but if he succeeds, then... Okay, then he's not restrained. Okay, so he manages to kind of dodge out the way of the web.
Mm-hmm. I got 5 more charges, so...
You
Can I
hear
do
a
it again?
voice saying, "Why are you using that wand? Let's just kill it."
Okay, I'm going to use it again.
Okay. Oh, he needs it. Wait, can you use it? Yeah.
No.
No, he fails that time.
Okay, and that will be this for this turn.
So he is webbed. You hear a voice. Now let's kill it. So they're both kind of cowering as well at this point, looking fearfully at Arokh. This one here is struggling to get free of the web. So, well, they both are. The two webbed striders are going to struggle to get free, and that one fails. And this one succeeds at getting free of the webbing. Okay. But he is pretty intimidated by Arokh at this point. So he attempts to retreat back into his cave. And his friend back here is still fighting against his tether. But the one down here breaks loose of his tether and comes kind of hurtling forward.
Crap.
So first thing, actually, Valia, attack of opportunity against the one that just ran away. That hits. Okay. He is very badly. Are you biting him?
I'm biting him.
Okay.
Or yeah.
He's very badly wounded. Blood kind of rushing from the 2 bites that you've given him, and he looks like there's not a lot of life left in him. This one, however, is going to do one of their favorite moves and spitfire at you. So could you roll a dex saving throw?
Darn Spitfires.
And succeed. So you take half of this damage. So you take 8 damage. So that's him, and actually that's them in general. So, do with the turn order. There it is. Aelia, going to hold her action. Let's fast forward to Valia, because all these NPCs are not really doing much at the moment.
Okay, I guess. Is that one at the bottom there close enough to me if I go try to finish the other one off? Will I get an attack of opportunity?
Oh, like if you go try to finish this one off, you mean?
Yeah.
I think, well, actually you're going to stay within this one threat range. So
Okay, so I'm gonna go here, attack the one that's wounded, try to kill.
Okay. Finish him.
Okay, well that was I'm gonna try my luck on that.
Okay.
Better but not good enough. Okay, second attack. I'm gonna try to kill him.
Okay.
Seriously? Okay, I got that one.
Yep. Yep, that finishes him.
Okay, and then my bonus, I'm gonna attack this guy.
Okay. That hits. Okay. That will deal a nice blow to him as well. So he is now wounded.
I'm like coughing and spitting. I'm like, I'm hurt.
Ulfgar, you see, Valia get another glob of fire back at her, and then kind of disappears around the corner, in pursuit of one that ran away.
It's a good thing there's so much fire down here. If only for visibility reasons. So Ulfgar says, "Quit playing around." And he'll move up over here. Actually, I don't know. How tall is the ceiling?
20 feet.
All right, so he'd move up and
Nice.
stand up on the, climb up on the dirt pile.
Okay.
And again, if this one here tries to move forward through people, he'll attack. But otherwise, he's just going to stay where he's at. And try not to be, scary or something. I don't know. He just doesn't... He sees them as some kind of, like, horse. Probably a really ugly, disgusting horse, being monstrosities and stuff, but... He sees them as a mount that doesn't know any better, and he doesn't know how to actually contain the threat at this point, short of just keep them from getting to other people. So,
okay. You do, from your vantage point, you see Valia, and she is definitely taking some fire damage.
Oh. Yes. I guess I'll use my bonus action then to do a healing word on her, first level. So that'll be it for my turn.
Okay. Dragonbait is gonna wait. Arokh.
Okay, seeing that Valia has gone into the race, so he's going to at least comply. Okay, wait. This one is going towards Ulfgar, right?
That one, actually, you're not sure who it's going for. It seemed to be focused on Valia, but then she moved. So it's not clear.
Yeah. Okay, he's going to charge forward and he's going to claw this weird-looking ugly horse.
Oh, sorry. It's shiftier than it looks. Dodges out the way.
Yeah, the bite has bonus action.
Oh yeah, the bite hits. This one is wounded already.
He's within 5 feet of me. Gets advantage, so.
Ah.
Not that he needed. But...
By the way, Valia, you gain 7 healing from my healing spell.
Yeah, I added it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So that's Yep. So it takes a good bite from Arokh, and is looking fairly seriously wounded.
Oh, his claw didn't.
No, because I think Arokh needs to be within 5 feet of you, isn't that?
The enemy has to be within 5.
Okay. Then then the claw would hit as well if it's the enemy. So I roll the claw damage for Arokh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did Arokh hit Valia?
Oh, that's an interesting twist on that ability.
His claw more like a swipe.
Slapping across the room with very, very long nails. Hello?
Hello. No, it doesn't hit Valia. It hits the Strider.
Yeah. Okay.
So you could do your claw damage because Valia is giving
Yeah.
you... Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I did it. So
Oh, well,
hang on. I've ended my turn. So
okay.
There you go. That helps.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I was looking for it. That's
advantage on melee attacks. Or so I have to roll for my first attack or for the claw. Okay. I get it. I just
Okay. Okay. It is mostly dead. After that.
You hear me going, yeah, kill him! Eat his head!
Kellisto.
Well, clearly my idea is not going to work since everyone's dead. Well, not everyone, but... So I'm just going to move.
Callisto, one of us! One of...
Ulfgar is standing on the dirt pile like, they're just big, confused ponies. Try not to... Oh, don't. Oh, you ripped its head off. Stop. Oh. They might spit fire a bit, but okay, maybe that's a bad thing.
I can move there.
Okay.
Hmm.
Do you wanna... What was that? Sorry.
Yeah, I'll just turn back into human. Obviously, we're going to have to kill these things. I'm disappointed in everyone.
Any other actions you want to take?
Well, changing is an action, right?
Let me check, actually. Wild shape. I can't remember right now.
Actually, you know what? I think I'm just going to leave as or stay as a spider for right now. Hang out on the...
Screw these guys. Okay. I need to have a look at that, though.
I'll look it up.
Okay.
But I'll not do an action.
Okay. Do you want to move further, or you want to hold your
I moved as far as I'm allowed to.
But if you don't want to take an action, you can use like your action for more movement instead.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I'll move over here.
Okay. All right.
And then I'm done.
Okay. Tobias.
Hmm.
You hear a voice? These things are evil. You could kill this one.
The question is it talking about your companions or the striders?
Yeah. Let me see what I got. So the spells. No, that I won't do. Yeah.
You hear a voice. Strike it with your sword, and I'll show you the power that we have together.
Yeah, I think it's in my range. Yeah, so I'm going to slash it with the sword.
Right. Well, the sword, as Ulfgar already knows, is magical. I think he let you know as well. So you get additional 2. It's like a +2 sword, basically. +2 short sword. So you can add okay, bonus action. You can add 2 to your regular short sword roll. And then on a successful hit, there is going to be additional effect.
So do I have to add an additional dices or?
You just add 2 to your hit roll. You just get +2 to whatever you roll.
Uh-huh.
And then
So
if there's
damage is 1d6, dex plus
the damage,
dex
if you,
plus 2. Okay. So
yep,
it will
if
be
you hit,
plus 4
yeah.
then.
And if you hit, there's going to be an additional thing that happens.
Okay. I'm going to regret it.
That is definitely a hit.
Chatter.
Don't get float, come on. Okay, so as you hit the Strider, from the blade of your sword comes this dark magical energy, and it just engulfs the Strider completely, and you hear this like kind of almost like a sonic boom, and you're going to do
Scourge of Tormented Souls.
and you see that the Strider takes additional damage from this sonic boom, and that would be an additional d8 of damage. So his damage your sword does the regular damage and then
2 damage.
Okay. So I mean, this thing is thoroughly dead, right? It's it's very, very dead. And then the dark kind of magical energy that has surrounded it disperses.
Like, whoa.
And you hear a voice. Now do you see? Okay.
Waiting for Tobias to just lick the blade.
Yeah, that will be more appropriate if Valia get this sword.
Is there anything else Tobias would like to do?
What options do I have? This one is webbed.
You've got your bonus action left, basically.
Yeah, so I'm going to move out a bit forward. I have a question. Why Kellisto is in the wall?
Because I'm on the wall. I'm on the ceiling.
Okay. Yeah, because you've turned into a spider. Yeah, okay.
Oh, I need to check one thing that Aelia might be able to do, actually. I just thought of a thing. I'm sure Rorax would be yelling at me to do this.
She might be doing that right now.
I wouldn't doubt she's probably sleeping.
Oh, it's
finally.
humanoids. Never mind. Okay, no, that won't work. It's humanoids. Okay. So the giant striders, the one in the back here, breaks his tether, and the screeches from it are those. They sound like it's completely panicked, basically. So, it's squawking, and looks like it is. I mean, sees its dead friend, right? And sees the what it views as death before it. So it is thoroughly panicked, and is kind of clawing at the walls and kicking at the walls, just in futility, really. This one is still cowering and webbed, and it's going to make a strength check to see if it can break free.
It wants to break free.
It's not break free.
Wants to break free.
I feel like Aelia would be trying to calm them, but I don't think that the calm emotions spell is only for humanoids.
Doesn't druids have the ability to calm the animals?
The difficulty is for Valia and for Kellisto is that these aren't technically animals. They're monstrosities instead. So the things that would normally work for animals do not work for these monsters, basically. So speaking of Valia, let's get forward to you know what, I'm removing Sithy. She's not going to get involved with Valia.
Okay, so the one up top here is Webb. The one inside's kind of trapped by this, but he's dead.
He's trapped by. I mean, he doesn't see a way out, right? He would have to come through you, and he's just watched you, you know, bite his friend to death. So his eyes are wide and panicked, and he is clawing at the walls, kicking at the walls with his great hind feet.
I'm just gonna walk down there and look around and see if there's any more, and I'm just gonna yell, just let the other two be. If the last one attacks us, then we'll kill it, but leave it.
Okay.
We need to continue on.
Yeah, you look back into this area and it's just the rest of it is empty.
Okay, I'll go there and wait.
And you can see as well that this meets up with that. Okay.
There we go. Alright, I'll go there and wait.
Ulfgar.
Ulfgar would ask if Tobias might put up some temporary dirt gravel barrier at the entrances here, there and there, just to keep them from running out and getting to Sithy. You know, make sure to leave space for air and stuff, and we can figure out a way of getting them out of there later on. Maybe gather a whole bunch of the dirt and gravel in this entire hallway, I guess. It's just a thought. And with that, he'll hop down off of this and over here and try and do what he can to try and move this thing into the hallway that he's standing in right now.
Okay. You grab it by the tail and try and drag it.
Very pathetically, yes.
Yep, it's tough to move.
Yep.
It's such a good thing that the tracks are there because it gives you something to like brace yourself against to drag this thing. Yeah, Dragon Bait will come and give you a hand as well.
Yay, NPC help.
He's standing next to you. It's just not.
All right.
The square.
Right.
I know. Here we go. And I do Alt.
You could do that. Oh my gosh.
Alt, yeah. Arokh.
That was a thing.
Ulfgar and Dragonbait seem to be trying to drag the dead body out of the way.
Oh, which way?
This way.
Okay, so he's going to give them a helping hand.
Okay.
So there will be strength check.
Yeah, why don't whichever of you has the highest make a strength check with advantage.
Dragonbait does.
I have very decent strength too.
Okay.
So
Ulfgar does not.
Oh no! What happened? You move it a tiny bit.
The tail comes up.
Yeah, you're pulling on the tail, it just comes away and
it's a little bit cramped.
Yep. Dragonbait says, "Why don't I push instead?" Callisto.
I'm gonna crawl over here
Okay.
and turn back into myself.
Bam.
Oh, jeez, you scared me.
I'm gonna tell them to just attach it to me and immediately turn it into just a second, I gotta look.
Oh.
A warhorse.
Ooh.
Okay.
I have a strength of 18 and then parenthesis +4.
Okay. So yeah, between the four of you, and Kellisto doing the majority of the work of Big Warhorse, you're able to drag this thing into the tunnel. Where do you want to put it? Like, are you kind of thinking like over here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So you're able to drag it over there and move it out of the way. Okay, Tobias. They will murder the dwarves if we leave them alive. That one is webbed. We should take advantage.
Chatty Cathy.
Yeah. I'm going to do as Ulfgar suggested, so I'm going to block these entrances with mold earth.
Okay. Burying them alive is worse than putting them out of their misery.
Could you not?
You're like...
You just cut out there when you said that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
get it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're able to kind of move the previous block that you had molded, move it over to in front of either of those two. So you could definitely do that, and I mean you don't have to block it all the way up. You can leave like a little gap at the top, unless you really want to bury them alive, in which case.
No. Just I'm going to consider the entrance enough, just so they won't get away.
Okay. All right. Which one are you going to go for?
The one which is closest to me, which isn't webbed.
All right. So we'll block that up there. All right.
Okay. Can I do this the same as a bonus action for the next one?
I don't know. What's the spell? The duration?
It's cantrip, so.
Oh, okay. But does it take an action to cast it? What's the casting time? Do you know?
Spells. Casting time, 1 action.
Okay. So you would need to wait for next
Okay,
round.
I'll wait.
But this guy is scared and webbed. He's gonna try and break free one last time. Wants to break free. Wants to break free. And I'm giving him disadvantage because he's scared, so that's why he's failing. By the way, so he fails again. You're not sure what the other one's doing because he's hidden behind a giant mound of dirt and gravel. Aelia, I'm trying to think, what would Rorax do?
I don't know because, you know, in their monstrosities, and they're the mounts, those fire mutes, and...
Yeah, I think she's just going to remain indecisive over here with Artis. So Valia.
I'm just like, what are y'all doing over there? So I don't know what to do now. I'm just like, they're taken care of.
Okay.
Just hang out and wait here. I mean, like, and look at Dragonbait. Like, what do they do?
He kind of shrugs. Like,
lets off a smell.
Yeah. I'll just hang out there.
Ulfgar?
Try and make my way back across the beastie.
Mm-hmm.
And Wait. That's what. Probably can only move about that much farther, because if it's difficult terrain, that's it. And just see that the one way was patched up, and hope that that will be enough to keep it in a stable for now. And then that's it. Just hold an action unless he gets attacked.
Okay. Is Arokh, or are you going to do anything, Kellisto? Or are you guys kind of waiting for Tobias to blockade the other one in?
I'm just waiting for the blockade. I'm gonna move back over the sky, but...
Okay. So, yeah, Tobias, you're able to block the other entrance up. And, yeah, that one is still webbed as well, so I feel like that's pretty well resolved.
Yeah, dwarves can deal with them later. So
okay. So then I think we can do away with the turn order. And then I think you are ready. Well, I don't know. Are you ready to presume your resume even your trek into the night?
let's investigate the smoke. There's a dragon waiting there.
How do you know?
Wild guess.
So what are you guys doing?
We should continue on into the mine like our original plan was.
Yeah, as much as Ulfgar wants to go investigate the smoke, it was already kind of decided that we would go down into the mine.
Okay. So you can head out then further down the trail, down this minecart track, and you see in front of you the opening to kind of the tunnel on the other side. So you understand now the glow, you know, you're kind of getting the layout here. You can see as well this kind of all meets up, getting the layout of everything. So it all meets up with this this crack of magma that the dwarves leveraged for their forge power. So when you start entering kind of the tunnel on the other side of the track, you do see that there are two openings to your right. You don't hear any noise.
I'm gonna peek around the first one.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think we need to actually investigate. That's the whole point of us going down there.
Okay.
To clear it.
So you peek around the corner, Valia. Are you being stealthy or?
Nope, not anymore. I'm just like,
Fair enough. So you peek around the first corner and you see bound, gagged, and blindfolded in the back of this chamber is a dwarf.
I yell at Ulfgar, Ulfgar, I need you to come help me because, yeah, you can talk to these guys. There's a dwarf here, so I don't want to scare him.
Does he look familiar, like we've met him already?
No.
Okay.
And in fact, he looks emaciated. He looks like he's malnourished.
I pull the gag away from him.
He's also blindfolded.
He's blindfolded. So you want to
right,
talk to him?
I lift the blindfold.
He blinks, like, from the brightness.
And I bring the gag off his mouth.
Okay.
And I ask, are you injured?
I look at Ulfgar. I'm like, he looks like he's been starved, and you ask him if he's injured. I just laugh and I'll pull out a little bit of.
I'm saying it in Dwarven, obviously. So
I'll pull out a little bit of rations and kind of hand them to Ulfgar.
And they do look severely wounded as well, actually. So not only malnourished, but also like they've been tortured. So there are burns and wounds on them. And they, he's kind of barely able to like lift his head. He kind of turns and blinks and says, in a very weak voice, "Who are you in Dwarven?"
And he'd introduce himself, Ulfgar Holderheck, part of the Emerald Enclave. We're here with Scythe to retake the forge. We weren't expecting to find other dwarves here. And I'd cast Healing Word on him.
Okay.
And then also hand him some of the food that was being given to me as well.
And he says, "Water. Do you have water?"
I pull out the water skin that Scythe gave me.
Okay.
And he gets 8 points of healing.
Okay. He takes a kind of slow swig from it. He's really suffering from extreme exhaustion at this point. Like he's in. Remember those folks that you found on a certain broken ship who could barely move, and
yep.
He's in worse shape than they were. So.
I didn't think you could get in worse shape than that.
He really can't move. Like they could at least like crawl over, and he really cannot move. He can barely lift his head to drink. So.
I'd obviously help him out. He's still bound at this point, but I'd speak to Valia and say, check the next cavern and see if there's any others. And I'd start trying to unbind him.
He says, "The fire newts."
Yes, we've scared them out of the main forge chambers, and we're checking out the mines now.
Okay. Valia, are you looking in the next cavern?
Yeah.
Okay. You find another dwarf in the very same condition. So he's been tortured. There are burns and wounds on his body, and he is emaciated and suffering from extreme malnourishment and exhaustion.
I yell at Kellisto, "Can you speak Dwarven?"
No, but I
She's over there like, I'm Mr. Ed.
Oh yeah, I forgot she's never mind.
She's a horse.
I turned back.
Oh, I was about to say that's going to be really useful here in a second.
No, but I do go in and cast Cure Wound.
Okay.
I'll walk up while she's doing that, and I'll start see if he'll let me unbind him and not freak out.
Oh gosh.
Okay. So when you remove his blindfold, his eyes get very wide and he looks panicked.
I figured as much. I just hold my hands up and point to his ties and tie him, and I pull out some rations and kind of give him a little bit of the.
Okay. Yeah, he's speaking to you in Dwarven. He says like a few words in Dwarven. And he really has no movement available to him to do anything anyway. So he's not exactly going to run away from you. And makes no motion to do so.
Yeah, I just untie him completely, and I hand him some rations. I'll put him on the ground and kind of scoot him towards him, and then I'll back away. So he, see if he takes them, and
okay.
I'll be like, Kellisto, you're better at this, and I'll just walk out. I was like, is it the teeth? And I still have some fire monster blood on me. I
mean, maybe bits of skin between the teeth.
She gives a big happy I'm a friend. See, big grin, and it's like,
don't eat me.
Yeah, I tried to make sure I tried to make sure I didn't smile too big because like teeth and grossness.
I pull some water out of my pack and I kind of hold it out in front of me and I just walk up to him. maybe I'm a
Okay.
little. I'm almost his height. Maybe I'm a little less intimidating.
Yeah, and definitely bear a lot less resemblance to his previous captors. So yep, he basically musters all the strength he has left to try and take a drink.
And I also will cast Healing Word on him.
Okay. Thank you. Yep. So his wounds heal, or some of his wounds heal, but he still has this like just extreme exhaustion going on.
Ulfgar calls for Tobias and Arokh to help him get this dwarf back out to Scythia.
And Dragonbait will offer to help as well.
Okay. And he'd say, you know, take him back to Scythia, and he hears the difficulties happening in the next chamber most likely, and would then proceed to try and come in and be a communicator for the other group.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna stand guard like right here in this spot and see if I peek. You know, I don't see if I see anything else like down here, any other openings, and I'll just stand.
Mm-hmm.
When Ulfgar comes in, I move out so he can talk to him.
Okay.
And as he's walking by, I'm like, how many more do you think of these we're gonna find?
I don't know.
Yeah, didn't she say they've been long gone? So, I mean, man, how long have they been here like this?
I don't know. He looks like confused and angry and upset about just their situation with these dwarves, you know.
I lean over to Kellisto and I whisper, I said, I feel bad for them, but don't tell anybody I said.
I won't.
I can hear you both. Now go get some help. Let's get this poor dwarf back to Scythia as well. Are there any other passages with other prisoners in there?
I am helping. I don't see any so far, but I don't want to go further. That's why I'm standing here so nothing can come in while you're helping them out.
Right.
Ulfgar, is he strong enough to ride a horse, to hold on to me as a horse?
I don't think he is, but I think if the two of us just escorted him, we'd be all right.
All right. Well, I'll help you do that then.
Okay. Fireman's carry.
So this one that you're talking to second, he starts like shaking, and he's just shaking like uncontrollably, and his eyes are darting like all over the place. He seems to be having trouble, like maintaining kind of a grip, mentally, if you will.
Okay. Well, Ulfgar calls for Aelia to try and calm them down.
Okay. Yep. Aelia would approach and cast. I was just looking at it. I think it's like calm of the mind or something like that.
Calm emotions, I think.
There it is. It is calm emotions. Yeah, you're right.
It
So
is
she casts
called
calm emotions on him, and he settles back down again.
Stone humanoid.
But she does say to you, Ulfgar, if you put him on my back, I can make sure he doesn't fall.
All right. And then I'm sure the two of us gingerly put him up there.
Yep. So she's kind of she tucks an arm, back behind her, to kind of hold him in place, and then carries him back across the bridge back towards Scythia.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that I think Tobias and Arokh would carry the other one as well. I know he's AFK right now, but
right. I mean, you were saying that was it Dragonbait was going to help with that one?
Yep. Yeah, Dragonbait can kind of scoop him up, and just carries him like a child almost.
Mm-hmm.
Once they get those two out, I'm basically just gonna stand at the back and follow them back across the thing, but make sure there's nothing coming up behind us or anything.
Okay. Yeah, you don't hear anything from down the tunnel this way. It is like the two mine cart tracks do lead just straight down into the darkness now. There's no more kind of entrances or exits off of them. It seems like this is the beginning of the true tunnel down towards the mine. And I think that is where we will leave it even. So the dwarves are being carried back towards city. The tunnel before you kind of awaits, and we'll see what you decide to do about these two dwarves next time.
All right.
If anything.
Yeah. I fully intend on asking questions. But that being said, we'll save it for next time. So thanks everybody for coming out and joining us. Thank you players, of course, for joining us. And thank you Kashcah for being our dungeon master. And thank you Pugs for not barking so much even though you both need to go outside. So we'll see y'all next time. Thanks everybody. Bye.
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 Goodness.